I'm getting served a 30-second ad.
Love that for you.
Oh, here we go. Okay, now we're live. I ordered my external monitor because last night I was not paying attention to chat at all.
Yeah, having two. I mean, I want a third monitor to be honest.
A third?
Yeah.
Do you have a laptop and then two screens, or just two screens?
Just two screens. Yeah. I mean, I have a laptop, but I don't really use it like ever. I have like my nice 4K monitor that I use for like photo editing and stuff, and then I have like my one that used to be my main monitor.
Dang. What would you use the third screen for?
I don't know. Sometimes it's like if you're working on like a paper, which I guess I won't really be doing when I graduate
Yeah.
or whatever, but like it's like you want your paper up and then you want like whatever you're referencing up and then maybe you also want like a YouTube video up because you don't really want to write the paper that bad.
Totally. Multitasking at its finest. That's what three screens are for. I gotta update the stream info. Wait, it's Boehlen, right?
Correct.
Boehlen? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Boehlen, yeah. It's German.
Really?
Yeah. I always forget, like, I don't think my dad was born in Germany, but maybe he was. I don't really know. Both of my grandparents were German. And like my uncle lives in hey Ben.
Hey.
My uncle lives in Switzerland.
Wait, no.
How you doing, brother? Also, I'm gonna eat some pineapple. I just realized I still had it in my fridge, and I'm leaving tomorrow. So, yeah.
You don't want that to go bad. I saw an article that I didn't read it. Disclosure, but it said every time you eat pineapple, like the pineapple is eating you. I was like,
Because it's acidic.
oh, okay, that explains
I
it.
think. Because the acid like eats so. That's good, Ben. I'm glad to hear that you're chilling. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Also,
Man, also I'm like so tired. Sorry, go ahead.
no, what were you to say about being tired? Tell us.
I'm just like so burnt out. I mean, I still have to clean my room. I packed mostly, but I gotta pack my backpack after this.
Are you bringing a big bag? Like, how much stuff are you bringing to Nova Scotia?
I never like pay for checked baggage. I haven't in like years.
Carry on.
So I just have like a
Carry-on.
carry-on and then like the like personal item, which will be my backpack. I've been kind of worried that they're gonna have an issue with my backpack because it has like a bunch of metal on it, which is like fine. Obviously, it's not like sharp, but it has all these hoops.
Oh boy, I gotta do this.
I can show you. It has like a million hoops on it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, these
Like-
metal hoops,
Damn. It's a
and like all the back.
pretty punk backpack.
Well, it is. I mean, it's Eastpak, but it's Raf Simmons, Eastpak.
Hopefully
And
that
all
can
of
get through
Raf's.
security.
That's like the vibe, yeah. I hope so, because I mean, I have to carry like my laptop and my Switch in there, basically, and that's kind of it. Oh, the clicking's back.
The clicking is back. I don't know what
I'm
to...
so
Oh,
curious.
it's gone. Nope, it's still there.
It's
it
like faded.
30 seconds. It's so annoying. Sorry, all 6 of you watching, for the inconvenience of the clicking. It's pretty inconvenient. But what I was gonna say, so you said that your dad may or may not have been born in Germany and that someone lives in Switzerland?
hmm
So my dad's second wife is German and they're moving to Switzerland.
Oh, that's crazy. I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
What are the chances? What is it about Germany and Switzerland?
They're really nice. I mean, I went to like, so my uncle lives in Zurich,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a nice, I don't know. I mean, I guess Montreal kind of feels like Europe, but it's like definitely like a different vibe than North America. Like I feel like when I was there. I mean, it was so. I think it was 2012 or 2013, but it was like
Yeah.
really chill, and just like something about it. And then like we went to like this like little village in like Eastern Germany, I think, where like my dad's cousins live, and they
Ooh.
just have like this like farmhouse, and like they have like chickens, and like they just hang out, which is really chill. And I think one of them's like an English teacher or something, so they could like talk to us, and the other ones like only spoke German, so I couldn't talk to them. Um,
Wow.
but
Pastoral fantasy life.
literally though, and I went to actually went to like a festival. Like the only festival I've really been to was like Zurich Open Air. And I went
Hmm.
with my dad, which was like weird. I mean, again, I wasn't even like 18. I would have been like maybe like 15 or 16, and saw like um, the Killers and Skrillex were like the two people that we saw, which was like a
That's
weird
fun.
combination.
Wow.
But he wanted to see the Killers, and I wanted to see Skrillex.
I mean, yeah, that's like crazy convenient. One time I was staying in this little town in Italy called Lucca, and they had like nothing there but this little town square. And we got there, and there's this huge stage. And we were like, what's going on? And the weekend we were there, Roger Waters played one night, and Santana played the next night. So we were like, okay, we'll go.
That's so sick.
It was crazy. I was probably like 12. It was very
Damn.
fun. Yeah. Wait, but so does your dad currently live in Europe?
No, no, no. He's
Oh.
That's why I don't remember because like he's lived in like the area I live in, like in the Niagara region,
Mhm.
for like as long as I've been alive, obviously, and like kind of in southern Ontario, basically like forever. Um, but I know that like at one point, I'm pretty sure he lived in Europe, or like at least like I don't even know. That's the thing. Like I just don't know anything. I feel so dumb. um,
Hey, it's hard to
but
keep track of parents. I personally understand, so don't worry.
yeah, I know that at least like I know my mom grew up in Quebec. I don't,
Okay.
but she wasn't born there. I think she was born in Ontario,
Mm.
and
I mean, Canada's
that's why
huge.
like it is. But that's why she wanted me and my sister to like go to French school, and that's why like I went to French school, which was all right, I guess. But
Yeah, I my half sister goes to French school, the one who will be moving to Switzerland.
oh,
Um,
nice.
I don't speak
Well,
any other languages.
I guess if they go to like Geneva, then
Yeah,
she'll be
they
in the
are.
clear.
They're going to
Oh,
Geneva.
well, there you go. I went to Geneva to visit like the World Scout headquarters or whatever because I was like in Scouts at the time. Um, that
Wait,
was cool.
did you go specifically for that?
I think that's why we went to Geneva. Yeah.
Wow, what was it like? What's the scout headquarters like?
It was fine. I mean, it was just like this like old white dude hanging out, I guess, which is like what you would expect.
This is like Boy
Um,
Scouts? Boy Scouts of the
yeah,
world? Wow.
yeah. I mean, in Canada, it's not called Boy Scouts because girls can join, and I mean,
Oh,
I'd assume non-binary and other people can join as well. I would hope at least.
yeah.
Um, which I always kind of wondered, like, because I know that Boy Scouts in America, at least I think it might have changed, but they were always like no girls allowed. I guess they probably just didn't even recognize like non-binary people.
Yeah, probably not until recently. I mean, there are Girl Scouts, but I only am really familiar with them because of the cookies.
Well, that's Girl Guides,
In
which
Canada, it's called Girl
it's Girl
Guides.
Scouts in the States.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Girl
here, because,
Scouts.
yeah, interesting. Because, yeah, we have Girl Guides, and then, like, we also just have Scouts. So, like, boys can't join Girl Guides, but girls can join Scouts. So it's kind of interesting.
Huh. Interesting. I don't get, I mean, I guess women need a safe space, so they have the option to keep it private,
Hmm.
but still a little interesting. Did you go really far
Yeah.
up? Like, did you have the highest certification? Or I don't know what the terminology
Yeah,
is.
so when I was in Scouts, it's not as hardcore as, like, the Eagle Scout Award, which is what it is in the
Yes.
States.
Yeah.
But I got, like, my Chief Scout Award, which is, like, the highest honor in, like, the Scout age in Canada, yeah.
So, what outdoor skills does that entail? Like building a
I mean,
fire, building a shelter.
yeah, so I've been like winter survival camping where like you just like go in the middle of like Canadian winter like without a tent and you gotta just kind of hang out. Um, and
Without
then
a
yeah, I
tent?
mean, yeah, like you have to build your own like shelter in the snow and stuff. Um,
An igloo?
no, like that's the thing. Like it would be cool if it was an igloo, but I think like none of us like no one really knows how to make igloos. Like it's pretty complicated and also kind of dangerous
Mm-hmm.
um,
They cave in.
to make igloos.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a huge risk of that, and like it has to be pretty specific how you make it, and you're supposed to like kind of like glaze it over and stuff. It's this whole thing. So we just like there's just like this like tree, and we like put a bunch of stuff around it, and then there's like a bunch of us. So we all just like slept all like close to each other and stuff. Um,
Fun. It's a good
yeah,
skill
it
to
worked out
have.
okay. I guess. I mean, I don't really see myself being stranded outside in like a forest in the winter, but I guess if I am, like, I'm kind of chilling now.
Was it cold? I would be freezing. I get cold so
Oh
easily.
yeah. No, I mean, it would have probably been like -10 to -20 Celsius, like freezing.
What? Oh my gosh. Oh man. That's and how many
Yeah.
layers? Like you can't even be wearing that much to stay warm in that kind of weather. You're kind of fucked either way.
Yeah. Though, like, one thing that they tell you, like, you have to, like, go pee before you go to bed, because otherwise, like,
Yes, I know
yeah,
that.
because, like, the liquid in your body can just, like, make you really cold. Like, it'll, get cold and you'll be like, I don't think it could ever freeze, because at that point you die. But, like,
Yeah.
you know, I
No,
wonder if that's happened to
totally.
anyone.
Their pee freezes inside them. I think
Yeah, I
well,
mean,
it stays pretty warm because your like organs in your body are heating it up. So when you're cold, it's like taking all of your energy to warm up your pee. So if you pee it out, then that energy goes and warms up your body.
right.
I learned that when I was camping in the Himalayas, but I
You
was
were
in a
camping
tent.
in the Himalayas?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
so sick. When did you do that? And, like, what did you do that for?
It was like the best experience of my life. It was amazing. Or one of them. Um it was a study abroad program that I did after my freshman year of college in India. And we basically spent a month driving from like Shimla, which is like the Himalayan foothills, over the Himalayas all the way to this place called Ladakh. I'm gonna show you some images.
Yeah,
Um,
run it. I'm super curious.
oops. Basically, we were camping at like, well, okay, so it took a month to get there because it's crazy elevation.
Whoa.
Um, so we were camping at like 9,000, 16,000 feet, like a variation between those. So we would get like
Hmm.
crazy sleep apnea. This is like the temple that we were going to. Oops. And all the mountains, like, oh my gosh,
Whoa.
except cookies.
That's so sick. I mean, I went up like the Swiss Alps when I was in Switzerland, but I've never like been like, on like a mountain hike kind of
This is what
vibe.
it looks
And I
like.
feel like that would be so sick.
Yeah, it was incredible. A lot of like crazy shit happened on the trip. It was very chaotic. Um, but that was like I started learning Hindi there, and then I took Hindi in college, but I don't remember it sadly. But now that I've like gotten into all this spiritual stuff, it like makes a lot more sense to me why I like had this intense desire to go to India. And it's crazy because like looking back, I'm like, wow, if I had known now what I knew, or if back then I knew what I know now, it would have been a totally different experience. I was just like touching the surface, you know?
Right.
It was
But
crazy.
still, you definitely like probably subconsciously like experience so much stuff that like you still kind of carry with you. Yeah.
Totally. It was so weird because I had all these like, I just had this very intense interest in Buddhism and Hinduism and Hindi and like, you know, when you just feel really drawn to a place and you don't really know
Mhm.
why? Now I
definitely.
get it. What place are you drawn to?
I don't know. Like, I definitely want to go. I feel like I want to go back to Europe for sure. And also, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I think a lot of places I'm more drawn to for like the people there than like anything else. Like, I want to go to like Vancouver because I know some people there, and also like it's just like the only like major Canadian city I haven't been to, kind of
That's the
deal.
only one I have been to.
How was it?
I don't know. I was going to Whistler. We were just kind of like in and out.
Just in and out. Yeah,
It
I
was
mean,
pretty.
that's the thing. Like, I don't know. It definitely just kind of seems like a pretty generic city, but like, that's all right.
It's on the
I
water,
don't
and
know.
it's kind of like the Hollywood of Canada, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Toronto's kind of trying to take that position. I think they're like really pushing their film industry. Um,
Really?
There's like along the waterfront on like the East End, they're really opening up like a lot of like studios and stuff. At least from what I remember. Um,
That's
I
awesome.
know that. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I know that my dad was like sending me stuff to like some like film related stuff that he wanted me to try to like apply to or whatever a long time ago, and I kind of forgot to.
There are a
But
ton of studios out there. I mean, in Vancouver for sure. I never went
mm,
for work, but a lot of my friends used to have to go to work all the time.
in
And
Vancouver.
whenever, yeah, to Vancouver. And whenever, like, Californians are like, I'm done with the United States, like, I'm gonna move to Vancouver. That's what everyone says.
I mean, I guess like at least it's also on like the West Coast, so it's not too far of a trip.
Mm hmm. Pretty
Because
convenient,
yeah, I mean,
actually.
I don't remember how long the flight to LA was, but definitely was a bit of a trek. I don't know.
I.
I definitely didn't like LA
Why? Tell me. Tell
as
me
like a
what you
city.
thought.
I mean, it like super doesn't feel like a city. I don't know. It just feels like so spread out and like I mean, I guess I never really tried to take the public transit, but the public transit seems super like de-emphasized and like everyone just takes like Ubers and stuff.
Mm hmm.
Um, whereas like I don't know, like Toronto feels a lot like New York. Like it feels like kind of like Brooklyn or something, like definitely not Manhattan, but like there's the same kind of vibe where it's like, public transit, like everyone takes public transit, like you walk everywhere and like everything's super close, everybody's super close and like
Yeah.
yeah, New
LA
York is sort of
definitely
just like
lacks that.
seven or six or seven like Torontos all kind of next to each other is like what New York feels like.
Wow. Interesting. I would love to
Yeah.
go to Toronto. And I love New York. It's a little
Mhm.
dirty.
It is definitely a little gross for sure. I mean, yeah, I don't think I haven't been anywhere outside of Brooklyn and Manhattan, so I can't really, comment on Queens or the Bronx or like, anywhere else. But
Yeah.
um, Brooklyn, yeah, is definitely a little bit grosser than Toronto. I mean, I think generally Toronto's a pretty clean city and like I don't know, pretty like okay city in general. I mean, I really like it here. Like I definitely prefer it to New York even like because one, it's way less expensive. It's still stupid expensive to live here, but like compared to New York, I think everything is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And
New York is insane. It's
yeah,
not
I
fair.
can't even like imagine. I feel bad for like all my friends who live there. I mean, I don't feel bad because obviously it's like a sick place to live, but I can't imagine like having to pay that much for rent and stuff. Like I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, it's so much for so little in terms of living space. Like,
Hmm.
I've been thinking a lot about like quality of living, and I think it
Hmm.
differs like person to person what you think gives you a high quality of living. For me, like convenience is definitely one of them. I guess I'm thinking about it since I just moved and like thinking about
Right.
LA versus San Francisco. Like, LA is so inconvenient, it's insane. But it has the people that,
Yeah.
other than New York,
I mean,
like, you're not going to find those people anywhere else, you know?
totally. And I mean, that's like the reason I went to LA. Like, yeah, like I went during Anime Expo, but literally we went like one day for like an hour. We like cut in line. It was so fucked. Like, so the first day Anime Expo opened, and like I don't know who organizes it, but it was just like horrible. There was literally like it opens, at like 10 a.m. or something, and we went at like 1 p.m. and there was literally like lines like around the block, like under this bridge, like down the street, like thousands of people just standing in line. And we just found this area that they were like redirecting these two lines together and sort of just like snuck in as they were like converging the lines.
Wow.
And like we talked to the people like in front of us because we were like, just standing in line, like chatting, and they're like, oh yeah, like we've been here since like 8 a.m., like standing in line, and it was 1 p.m. and they were still waiting to get in.
Oh my god.
And we just like stuck it right behind them.
Did you have tickets? Like, did you have
Yeah,
to?
I mean, we like had tickets and stuff. Like we had our passes, but like that's the fuck part. Like that was for like people who had tickets. They had to wait that long. Well, I mean, like
Poorly
obviously it's the first
organized.
day, so like people are like hyped to go, but like yeah, no, literally we went that one day. Like I went and I like saw we went and saw like our friend like Mushba, and then like stopped at like a couple other places and just left and like didn't go back for the rest of the weekend because it was like yeah, everyone's in town because AX, but like really we're just all here to like hang out and see each other, you know?
Hmm. Were there people that you were like meeting there for the first time that you knew from the internet?
Yeah, actually, George, who I've been playing WoW with a lot, George Water Spirit, I met there for the first time.
George. Wait, George Water Spirit?
That's like their artist name. Sorry, I always
Oh,
like say like first name artist name instead of like first name last name.
that's a sick name. I'm jealous.
Yeah, they do like hardcore. They're friends with like Lil Texas. They have like some songs with, or I think a song with him or like a remix with him. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I met him at the. I don't like he doesn't know who I am or anything. But like I
Little
met him at
Texas?
Transmission. Yeah, because George was playing Transmission, which was like this show that like my friends like Eileen and Jade put on,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of my friends were playing. So I went and yeah, Little Texas went there because George was playing a set, and I like saw him like standing in the corner. I just went and said hi. I was like, oh hi. He was like
Wow.
surprisingly like pretty timid in person. I was kind of expecting like a very rowdy person, but he was just kind of chilling.
Wait, so okay. Did you guys meet through Discord?
Yeah, George and I
Okay.
definitely met through Nice Crew. I mean, that's like everyone that I know from the internet. I would have met through like Nice Crew, or like that kind of Twitter circle that are like revolves around that, like people in like Thwip and stuff, which isn't really a thing anymore. But
Wait, what's
uh,
not a thing anymore?
Thwip, I was never part of it. It was just like this Twitter group chat. It's like
Oh.
basically Nice Crew like evolved from Thwip in a sense. Like
Oh.
it's the same kind of group of people.
Can we talk
Um,
about Twitter and how you and your friends run Twitter?
what do you mean?
I don't. I mean, am I the only person who thinks that? I don't think so. Like, you got. It's. I don't know. I have to break down who I follow on Twitter, but I feel like your crew just has such a huge presence there. Like, what's your. Is that your preferred platform? Like, social platform?
Oh, totally. Yeah. As far as like interacting with people, I don't even like obviously I talk to people like on Discord the most, but like as far as like an actual social media, yeah, I think all of us use Twitter as like our primary thing.
And what do you like about it?
I mean, I don't know. Like it's basically like what are the other options? Like realistically, just Instagram, and Instagram kind of sucks because it's just like pictures.
Mm hmm.
And like so, I guess Twitter feels a lot more casual. And I mean, I didn't even really have social media at all until 2018. Um, like I had
For
like a
you.
Facebook account. Yeah, and I didn't have like it's definitely weird. I mean, I think even weirder now for like this generation who like are on like Instagram and stuff when they're like 12 or whatever the fuck. But like I didn't get my first like I had like this little like brick Nokia phone that I got in like 10th grade that I had to use like if I was like at work or something or like not at work but like gonna come home late. Um, but I didn't have like my first like smartphone until like I like could pay for my own in like 12th grade.
Wow.
Um,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, probably a blessing. Also, hey, Peter.
Hi,
Yeah.
Petey. This Among Us game is crazy. Are you playing Among Us in Nice Crew? No, nobody's even in there. What are you talking about?
We can play Among Us.
We could play Among Us. I kind of
Um,
hate Among Us now.
yeah, I want to play Spy Party again. It was so fun.
Spy Part is cool.
Do you have it?
I've never played. I do not.
It's so fun. So
It
fun.
seems like a good time. But
I I wish I had friends that played. It's like it's $25. I got it through work, so I didn't have to pay for
how
it.
nice.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
that's like
oh, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. I was going to go back to the Twitter thing.
Oh, Peter was just doing a goof. Peter, you silly Billy. You prankster. Peter, I mailed out all the shirts today, so let me know when you get yours, I guess.
That's a big accomplishment. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm all done. I mean, I finished today. It was like 2 days ago. I kind of got out of bed late and I screen printed for like, I only worked for like 2 hours because I was feeling really lazy. And then yesterday I worked from like, I think like 3 or 4 p.m. until midnight. And then today from like 1 p.m. until like 7. And
Wow.
it's all done. And there was also like a day like a week ago. You got the shipping. Okay, good. I was hoping it would. I never like Shopify doesn't like tell me when I update stuff that it sends shipping emails. But yeah, I also like felt bad that it took so long, so I got everybody like tracked shipping, which I don't know. I lost so much money on those shirts, which like I'm fine with because like I made money for like all the artists involved and stuff. But yeah,
I mean, I guess, we learn from our projects. Do you think you'll do stuff like
yeah,
that again?
definitely. I think so. I mean, probably not for a while and not like exactly like that. But I mean, it's like cool. I don't know. It's the same thing with the Crocs. Like obviously I wound up making money on the Crocs, but more than anything, it's just like cool to think about like people wearing shit that I've like made and like that kind of like existing in the real world and other people like having it out and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like only I think there's only like one person who like I don't know that was like in Toronto that bought them. So like the odds of me ever seeing that person is like so low. But like it's still just like what if I saw that person? Or like with the Crocs, like a couple people that I don't know like bought them in Toronto and it's just like there's always like that possibility.
That's
Which I
so
think is just
cool.
like so cool.
It'll
But
happen. You're gonna see them.
I think eventually we'll get there.
If money
Just
wasn't
gotta
an
keep working.
object, what are some things that you'd want to design and create as like future products?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, I'm already starting to conceptualize like this collaborative book. I think I mentioned that last time we talked.
Yes.
Um, my friend Ben, she was supposed to come over today, but she slept all day. We were supposed to work on it, like work on conceptualizing, but I've been like kind of thinking about it. But that'll probably cost me a fair bit up front. I want to do like a limited like first run of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Would it be like
and I would,
hardbound?
yeah, like hardcover, like really nice book. Like it'll probably be like 500 to 1,000 to do like a pretty limited like first edition, like probably like 20 to 30 books or something like that, like really small. Um,
You could
so
probably
I'll have to
price
see, but I
that.
really want to do that. Um,
You could
and so
sell
I'm working on
those
that
for
next.
like $60.
Yeah, I mean, I like making things affordable. I mean, it's the same thing with like the shows that I did in Toronto, right? I mean, like the Nice Crew shows that I threw, like I think the first one tickets, I think both of them tickets were $10 Canadian. Um, maybe the second one was 15 or 20. But either way, like super cheap shows, and like I could easily have charged more for them. Like I think about like the Jack shows, which obviously there's some bigger names involved in those, and they were definitely at like proper venues versus like DIY. But if I'm remembering, the tickets for like Jack shows were like 40 to 60 like US. Um,
Wow.
which is like almost like 10 times what I'm like charging,
Yeah.
what I
Oh my
charge.
God. That, I
And so
mean,
it's like I'd rather just like more people have it.
mm-hmm.
Like that's really what it's about. Like I don't know. Obviously, like I have to find a way after I graduate to like sustain myself and like make money. But like with stuff like that, like it's way cooler to just have more people there and like experience it. And
Yeah.
especially at the stage of like growing things, like it's so much more valuable
Mm-hmm.
to like have that kind of like mass versus like actual just kind of short term profit. I think.
Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely true. It's really easy or interesting to think about. I was kind of thinking about that with Twitch. One of my friends was like, "Why do you like streaming?" And I was like, "Because I can reach a lot of people in one swoop, you know." And like that's the point,
Totally.
is reaching a lot of people. But this is very different than like a physical product, you know.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's definitely hard to like do that and not make money or even lose money. Like on the shirts, like, for me to have put in definitely upwards of like 100 hours with everything like done,
Yeah.
and to like lose a bunch of money. Like I probably like paid out of pocket like probably like $500 to $1,000 for those shirts. Um,
Damn.
like after everything is done and like not paying myself for labor or anything, obviously. Like it's
Mhm.
kind of weird to think about. But again, it's like I don't know. I made money for my friends and stuff, and like now they exist, and like people will wear them, and like that's kind of worth something to me, I guess, for
Yeah.
sure.
And you're also building your brand. But these shirts were under a different name because I feel like I saw them, but I did not know it was you.
Yeah, they're under like Ep2, which is like yeah. I've done another project which is like the street signs, and the book. One of the books will be under that too. And yeah, I mean like obviously I'm talking about it here, so like it is like it's not like a secret that it's like me, but it's not like really publicly anywhere that it's like my thing.
Mhm.
Um,
It's a
but yeah, it's just like
branch of
supposed.
the Robin Boehlen brand.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just kind of this like it's for all the like super collaborative type projects, yeah, where it's just like something where because like I don't even necessarily like need my art to be involved or anything. Like with the shirts, like one of them had like something by me, like I was like one of the 9 artists. Or like with the streetcar signs, I was like one of like 10 artists and stuff. And so it's just like, yeah, these like projects that are just sort of like I'm a part of, or maybe even not a part of, and just
Mhm.
like a bunch of artists are involved with. And I think that like it's cooler that way to have it not be like my thing with like a bunch of other people, but kind of have it be everyone like on the same level.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's so awesome that you're creating opportunities for other artists. Like I've tried to do that too. I think I get so much more like fulfillment and find so much more value in doing that.
Totally. No, I mean same. I think it's like way cooler that way. And like obviously it's important, and especially again like I'm graduating. I don't have any career plan. And so like yeah, I kind of got to figure out for myself what's going on, but like it's just cool to be able to do stuff like with other people. Like that's what's like
Mhm.
fun. Like doing stuff by yourself is kind of just like whatever. Like and
Yeah.
anybody can do it, and like it doesn't necessarily really like always it doesn't like fulfill in the same way, I guess, as being able to do stuff with other people.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why having that conversation with you the other week inspired me to do this. It's like, because I was like, what am I going to stream by myself? You know, like,
Yeah,
I'm all about collaborating and being with other people and seeing what happens.
totally. Thank you, Peter. I don't know how recently the message was sent. Fuck, I'm so bad at reading chat. I
I think
appreciate you
it's
though,
recent.
if you're still here. Okay.
I agree,
Thank you,
Peter.
Peter.
It definitely does show. And it already is paying off, but it will continue to pay off. Bill's
Hi,
here to say
Bill.
hello.
Look at that guy hanging out.
He's
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely super terrifying to like be like pretty massively in debt, and like in like 6 months, I will have to start paying that back.
with
And
student loans.
yeah, with student loans, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I'll figure it out.
yeah. I mean, it's you've already had a lot of experience in doing your own ventures, which is really lucky. And like, it'll be interesting to see how much time you feel like you have now that you're not going to be in school.
Totally. And yeah, I mean, like, even as someone who doesn't like prioritize school at all, like, it still is like a huge time sink,
Yeah.
like a
And just
huge
like
like
an
mental.
energy and yeah, mental,
Hmm.
like it's just kind of like a heavy thing sitting on your shoulders.
No, totally. Like, that's exactly what it is. And like, I'm glad I only have 4 classes next semester, and I had 6 this semester.
Oh, that's
So
better.
and one of them is like thesis, which is like pretty light as far. I mean, I think other people put a lot of effort into their thesis,
Mhm.
and I feel like everything I submitted for my thesis is the stuff that came like the easiest and fastest to me, which I feel like it should be. Like if you're submitting work for your thesis, it should be because it's like work that you just like come naturally to.
Yeah.
Useful and educating art gallery internship. That'd be so sick. No, I super want to do that. I would love to. It's so hard to find like galleries. I mean, commercial galleries exist, but they're super expensive, and especially with like COVID, like getting people into a gallery space is super hard. But if I was ever in the financial position to, I'd love to create like a physical thing. But in the meantime, I mean, I think that living in a city, like you kind of have the potential, if you're not too worried about breaking the law, you have the potential to really like just create and display art anywhere.
Mhm.
Like with like the early like Cliff Dow stuff, like the first like the streetcar sign stuff, like that got seen by way more people than it ever would have in a gallery, and it cost nothing. I mean, like it
So
cost something to
true.
print. I think it would probably cost me because I have like at Toronto ImageWorks they have like a 50% bulk printing discount for students, so it probably would have
Nice.
cost me like maybe $50 to $100 to print all of those, and then the security Torx bit set from Amazon was probably like $20, and that's all it cost.
Wow. Wow. I mean, yeah, Toronto is your like living, breathing gallery, if you think about it that way. But I'm curious, like,
Yeah,
what would the Robin Gallery look like? Like, we were talking about how uh, galleries, like, are not safe spaces, or like, what were we saying?
or not like neutral.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not neutral. Can we talk about that? Can you talk about that?
yeah. I mean, I guess like you know the gallery, especially like today and like in recent history, like like when you think of a gallery, like there's connotations and like there's implications to like being in a gallery space, and like thinking about white as neutral and thinking about like a white box specifically as like being like this neutral space is like like that's not like that's still context. Trying to like remove something from context and like the idea that like this white box is not context, like is context. And like
Mm-hmm.
you know if you think about things in a gallery like a plinth, which is like like the like rectangular white boxes that art, like sculpture or whatever, like small sculpture would sit on, like that's super like, you know, if you think about like what you're doing with that, it's like this clean white thing that's like elevating this artwork, and like, both literally and like figuratively, like you're elevating the artwork and like placing it on this above this thing. And like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, galleries are super weird for sure, and especially like traditional like white box galleries. I still think that they're cool, and I'd still like to show in galleries and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that definitely the biggest advantage is just having a lot of space, for
Yeah.
sure. So I'd want to just do like big shit in a gallery, like
Yeah.
my like design that like I had on like the shirt. I've been wanting to like do like I'm gonna play Among Us. All right, bye, Peter. Have
Thanks,
fun.
Peter.
Um, but yeah, like I'd love to have that printed in like vinyl or something, and like really big, like on a wall. And then like, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the things that I've been making are like kind of big. I mean, like that you can't see it in this camera, but the thing with like the text about the bananas is like pretty large. Like
I
it's
love
taller than
that.
I am.
Really?
Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
cool.
probably like it's probably pretty close to me in height. It's probably like 6.5, 7 feet tall. If I
Where
had
did
to
you find
guess.
that?
Oh, so actually, it's like my old twin bed. It's like half of like what went underneath the mattress. There's like these two
Damn.
boards, and I just like didn't throw it out yet. And I was like, that'd be pretty cool.
That's
I mean, that's like
symbolic.
all this stuff. True, yeah. No, but
You
like
were
all this stuff I've
sleeping
been
on
writing on
that.
it, just shit
Sleeping
that I
on it
have
for
like
a
lying
long
around.
time.
The like the big whiteboards that I wrote on were just like I was using them to like cover the screens for screen printing, because like they had like ink on them still, because I didn't want to clean them,
Mm-hmm.
because you can just leave them be dirty because plastisol ink doesn't dry at room temperature. Um, So I would just like put those on top so shit didn't just like accidentally fall on it or like dust or whatever accumulate.
Uh-huh.
And that's why they're all like taped up because there's like all the plastisol ink on them. So I had to like tape it so it wouldn't like, if I put it on the floor. And like other shit was just like boards that the screens like came in, or like this like cardboard that I had from like second year that like cut part out of to like make a model for like this architecture class I had to take. Like it's
Wow.
like all just shit I have like lying around, I guess. And I guess that's like, obviously cool because then it like has that sort of, it's all really personal stuff that I'm like, writing about or whatever. And so it has that sort of like feels like lived in, which
Mhm.
like is fitting for
Yeah.
sure. But that was never even like the thought. I mean, realistically, it's just the like convenience of it, right? Like I just have it.
Yes.
So why wouldn't I use it instead of like having to leave my room and go to like an art supply store?
Yeah. I mean, not to read super far into it, but it's just I think it's really interesting that you gravitate towards creating on objects and like surfaces that you've lived with and like lived in some ways, because it just makes
Mm-hmm.
it so much more personal. And I feel like if I like was in the room with it, even if it wasn't your room, like even if it was in a gallery, like it would give me a sense of you. And it does on its own, but then knowing like you slept on this board, or like this was sitting on your wall, or like part of the screen printer that you were using, like it's just really interesting. I don't think a lot of artists can say that, at least any that I know of.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely more common to not do that. And I mean, obviously, when you have more output, like, I'm kind of running out of shit in my room. So, like, at some point, I'm just going to have to start buying stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
looking
that
at
sort
your
of
white
series of
sheets.
things.
Just gonna like paint all over them. What's your favorite medium to use?
um, I don't know. I mean, literally everything that I've been doing has been, where is it? This. It's a Magnum Sharpie.
Oh.
It's really thick.
Does it smell
Um,
super strong?
I don't know why I just smelled it. Yeah, it's pretty strong. Um, yeah, the Magnum Sharpie is definitely kind of strong. I don't know, but I have a couple things. There's like series. There's like these like green boards that like I read like I love you on with like a
Yeah,
green background,
I
which
love
is like
those.
thank you. It's like a reference from like a comic book.
Yeah, I
That's like
remember you showed me
similar.
the reference.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah. And then I did it. And I was originally gonna do a big one, and then I was like, well, I have these boards. I don't know what else to do with them. And so like I did one out of like crayon, one out of like oil pastel, and one out of oil paint. And so they're all just like different texture, um,
It's so
which
cool.
I think was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
want to see
I've
them like
asked.
hung up side by side next to each other.
I'd like that too. For now, they're kind of sitting against my shelf, hopefully drying. I don't really know if they'll ever dry by air. I don't really know what the process is to cure them if I have to, or
Hmm.
stabilize them or whatever.
Well,
But
the crayon one isn't that dry?
the
Or was
crown
it?
one's been
Yeah.
chill. But the oil paint, last time I accidentally like bumped into it, definitely made a black mark on my slippers. So
Oh
um,
no.
it's okay. The slippers were kind of gross, anyways. I'll have to get new ones. But I've
Do
asked
you?
for like a giant oil pastel for Christmas, so hopefully I get that.
Fingers crossed. That would be
If
awesome.
not, I'll just buy it. But yeah, that'd be nice.
That's a great Christmas gift. Um, I'm curious, like, how does your experience between making like physical art versus digital art? Like, do you get more or less satisfaction, or do you enjoy one more than the other? Like, what's the difference?
I used to work almost exclusively digitally, but I would try to tie in like physical stuff. Like I used to do more collage and I would like scan it and use it digitally. But
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, everything I would do was just digital. And now I sort of hate it. I don't know. I just don't seem to be able to like do it in a way that satisfies me. Especially not, the exception to that is like text work. And if I ever do text work, then I have to print it and scan it because I really like the texture that like you can see like the physicality of it, even if it's kind of scanned in, which I care a lot about. But yeah, now I don't know. I think that despite what like is sort of the association with like computers and like smartphones and everything with being like this like super fast kind of instantaneous thing, like I think that I'm able to create in more of like a stream of consciousness like fast kind of way physically, um, which I've always found more satisfying, I guess, or like more fulfilling, yeah, now.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I've never been good at drawing or painting, and I have really bad handwriting, and so I was always really self-conscious about that. um, but I
But
don't know,
now
I
you're
mean, you look
using
at
it
other
all the
people's.
time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at other people's bad drawings or you look at other people's bad handwriting and you're like, this is cool. Like it's not like traditionally good, but like it has character and it's interesting. And so I've kind of just assumed that when other people see my bad handwriting, they think the same thing, even
Hmm.
though I can't see that. And
I do.
thank you. Yeah, I mean that's good to know. I mean, I definitely think that because yeah, I mean it's sort of the same thing with like everything. It's sort of hard to see the good qualities in yourself, or hard to see like the beauty in yourself, right? Because you're sort of so like exposed to it that like you only really notice the bad things about it. And
Hmm.
so I think that definitely like focusing, just like not thinking about it. I mean, obviously I'm surrounded by this stuff all the time, like it's all like around my walls and shit because I don't have anywhere else to store it. So like I'm seeing it all the time, but like I don't really like think about it. Like everything I've made, like I make as fast as possible basically.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because if I think about stuff too much, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And like there's still sort of like considerations like with the text about like the bananas again. um like I measured it and I was like it'd probably be like, I guessed I was like I'd probably have to write about this, like take about this much space per line, and I could probably fit about this much per line, so I kind of drafted it all out like in Photoshop as far as like the amount of text I could fit,
Hmm.
and like pre-wrote it so that it would fit onto the board like perfectly.
Right.
Um, but even then, I mean, I miscalculated and I ran out of text, and so I just kind of stretched it a bit. Like as I was going, like I added a couple lines at the end. Um, and the same thing with like the three boards about like the like relationships or like love stuff.
Hmm.
Um, those three boards, like I kind of pre-drafted so they would all be like equally long and fit on the boards. But like even that's just like writing it, so like writing it in a way until it fills the end, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done, like on to the next one, and then I just write it like physically, and then like I don't look at it again.
Do you feel like when you write that stuff down, it's like released from your mind? Like you're not gonna come back to those thoughts?
I don't know, I mean, I don't think it is. I think that it like partially is to sort of have it out there, and sort of the process of like releasing it, I think has definitely like to the public has definitely made me just like not care so much about stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
like in other interesting news, like there's super like a picture of my dick somewhere on the internet now, um, which like happened this week, which is like really weird to think about.
Wait,
And like,
what?
it's a long story. It's a long story.
That woke
Um,
Bill up. He's like, "What? What'd
sorry,
you say?"
Bill. Bill's
No,
he's
he's
intrigued.
yeah. He's not
Um,
opposed. Wait. Okay, well that's crazy. It's art. It's
yeah,
art.
it's yeah. I mean, it could be, but the point is more just like I don't know. I mean, my response to it was super just like not caring. I was like, okay, like I think I've sort of just become used to the idea of like things that I used to consider really personal and like kind of like sacred in a way. Like, I mean, obviously there's still stuff about myself, and I think in a way more mundane stuff about myself that I don't share with anyone, and
Hmm.
like that I would probably care more about. But, like these really like dramatic life events. I mean, like I had that series about like all these kind of like traumatic things, like
Hmm.
getting someone pregnant, or like like all this other stuff. Like I don't know. There's just something about it that doing that just sort of makes it really seem insignificant, which I think is valuable in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of a way to like release the emotions or like energy around something that happened.
Totally. And it's also like I guess you kind of I mean even though like posting those things, the that series, and like happened around the same time that like there was like some hyper pop drama going on, and so a bunch of people started making fun of it. Um,
Really?
yeah, because like there's this, it's something that's not necessarily worth getting into, but there's this person who's just like really shitty and weird and has
Hmm.
done some very questionable things and sort of makes fun of people, like just bullies people, and I like called them out, and then like a bunch of the children that they hang out with all you know kind of were like fuck you. So,
Damn.
but
Super
yeah, no, I
immature.
mean it's super. Yeah, I mean it's immature of that person. It's understandable for the literal children, but you know, um, it's
The
definitely
young
a good.
fans.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean even then it's like no one really cares about it. Like no one remembers it. Like things just sort of exist, and like other people have their own lives, and like you just like move on and you don't care, which is something that I struggle with a lot, like in person still, and like being physically in a space I like around other people. I feel very self-conscious, but like again, sort of about really mundane stuff, like these really
Hmm.
big things. Like, why does it matter what someone else has going on in their life? Like, if you think about it, really, like it doesn't. Like, I'm not gonna remember or care about like in a week, like if someone told me they got someone pregnant, or like they did something else.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
So
everyone's
yeah,
just living in their own little worlds, and everyone's behavior towards others is a reflection of how they treat themselves.
totally.
But
Yeah.
I appreciate how bleh, vulnerable your work is, and I loved the I don't know the pieces where you wrote. It was kind of like a almost a paragraph, but then you cut it in half and you couldn't see the other half of it. Where like
Oh
what
yeah.
inspired that? I thought that was so original and cool.
So actually inspired by this sticker. Funny enough, there
What?
is this sticker that the Velvet Underground they did. I mean, I say they, but like probably whatever foundation or whatever did in collaboration with like Supreme. They did a collaboration, which I don't own anything from, but I guess I bought something the same week as that, and so they usually like whatever stickers there are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, there's like art on like the front of it, and then on the back it had like some lyrics. Um, and the way that you like open the sticker is it like it folds, so like it actually like kind of from the middle, and so it
Yeah.
opened it in half, and I was like, that's really interesting. um and so yeah, that's what inspired it, I guess, just seeing that. And I mean, obviously that was like intentional, and it was just like these like lyrics, and then it's just like, yeah, cut down the middle. And so yeah, I don't even remember what the other half is. I mean, I have it obviously, but yeah, I think that's definitely something where it's sort of more interesting for it to just be in half in a way.
Yeah.
um
I mean, it makes it's engaging for the viewer, to you actually have to think about it, and it makes you curious and wonder and want more, which a lot of art doesn't do necessarily.
mhm. Yeah, that's cool. That's definitely cool to hear. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but that was another thing where, I mean, I just wrote it, like I just wrote whatever to like fill a page, and then I printed it, I cut it in half, and I scanned it, and then like I haven't even like reread it since then. Like going
Wow.
back, like I don't even really remember what the rest of it is.
What
I
it
could
was
fill
even
in like some
about.
of the lines. Yeah, I could probably guess some of it, but I don't know. And actually, yeah, now that I think about it, like I didn't save the Photoshop file,
Hmm.
so the
So
other
you'll
half
you'll
of it,
never know.
I think it. I mean, I don't think I've thrown it out. It probably is like in my couch or something, or like under my couch in this bin. But yeah,
Hmm.
I couldn't easily go find what it is.
Wow. It's a mystery.
Yeah,
Hmm. Very cool.
which is another cool thing. I don't know. I mean, I think that yeah, it sort of puts me on the same level as everybody else, which I think is something that's cool. Like I think with art, like a lot of it is about like being pretentious, and this whole like, oh, like I know more than you do, or like I'm like, you have to like understand this, and like I think I'm never really trying to make stuff, and I've never really been trying to make stuff that like is difficult to understand.
Hmm. Why is art like why is the art world so pretentious? Like what why?
I mean, I don't know. I think that part of it is definitely just kind of it's more like when did it start becoming pretentious? Because like
Hmm.
things just sort of self perpetuate, and
Yeah.
so like when you see like pretentious art is sort of what's successful, then like you want to continue with that. But I mean like if you there's sort of been movements and like reflection, like things that are sort of a response to like the pop art movement and stuff, where it's very based in pop culture and like these like commonalities and like things that you see in everyday life and can like understand, right?
Hmm.
um and so like I think that that's always cool, and that's definitely one of my favorite, pop art's probably my favorite movement.
Oh,
And
my mom's here. She says, "I'm so impressed with how articulate your guest is." I know.
thank you.
Robin is
I
extremely articulate. Robin
I've been told
inspired
I
me to do
talk
the
too much.
show. No, don't talk too much.
I mean, I guess in this context, where I'm supposed to be the guest talking, it fits, but you know, but
Well, yeah, so about the pretentiousness. I can't speak to the art world because I'm a spectator. I'm obviously not super deep in it. But I have talked to a lot of people about like the fashion world. And again, I am not deep in the fashion world, but I've dealt with a lot of people that are. And a lot
mhm.
of them are not very nice. To the point where
Yeah.
I'm like, I want nothing to do with this. Like, I cannot, it's just not healthy for me to be around people like that. And someone said to me, because I think I've definitely found a solid group of like genuinely nice creatives, people who treat each other well and expect to be treated well in return. Um,
Mhm.
and this person said to me that they think one of the reasons people in fashion are mean is because a lot of people feel they have to put up this facade of like I'm wealthy, I am sophisticated fashion, like I am fashion, but they don't really know what that is. And so it comes off as like I'm better than you and I'm not going to be nice to
Mhm.
you because that's the easiest way to convey, you know.
Totally.
I don't know.
Um,
Have you experienced anything like that?
yeah. Also, just briefly to answer your mother's question,
Oh.
Amanda and I met through Minecraft events. Amanda was like the contact at Twitch that like reached out to us about like getting us on Twitch and stuff for those events, and then we just kind of became friends through that. So the internet, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I think that I haven't really looked into that much. I'm pretty like isolated, I guess, from the like art scene in Toronto, which is sort of a good thing and a bad thing, because I think that it's a pretty small scene, and there's definitely like you mentioned, yeah, I mean people are like mean and like exclusive about stuff, and like you know any gallery that you're looking at is like, oh, like not taking like applications or whatever, like blah blah blah. So I think it's really hard to break into. But I mean, as far as the people that I've like the artists that I've met that I care about, and like that I think are making good art, or art that I kind of relate to, they're all like really nice people and really genuine and like open, which I think makes sense given like the kind of art that I gravitate towards.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, that's only like a few people. Like, I don't know, there's this one artist in Toronto, Mike Alexier, um, who did like a guest lecture last semester, or I guess last year now, in my artist multiples class. Um, and he's like, like a pretty well-known artist. And so it was like cool to like see his collection of like artist multiples, because it's something he's passionate about. And then also just to like hear him talk about that stuff. But then I was talking to like Mushba about this artist that he's really fond of. I forget their name now, but they had this funny artist multiple that was just like this like stack of like paper with like the like number like million, like written on it in like handwriting, and there's like this green band, so it's like supposed to be like this like fake stack of money. And I was just
Hmm.
like trying to remember if it was the same artist, and so I just like DM them on Instagram. They just like answered. They're like, "Oh yeah, thanks." Like, or they're like, "Oh yeah, this is it." And I was like, "Oh thanks," and like I sent them this work that I like made that was like kind of inspired by them, and they're like, "Oh, like this is really pretty," and I was like, "Thanks," and like they're just like really nice about it, which
I
is like
love
super
that.
cool.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
refreshing when you get that like honest feedback and you can tell they're not like, I'm the shit.
yeah, for sure. And I think that like all those people who are really down to earth, I don't know, and yeah, like I've obviously only technically been in like visual studies program at U of T for 2.5 years, and there's some profs that I've never really met that I've had, which is kind of a weird thing.
Hmm. Wait,
With like
how does
not,
that work?
I've never really gone to class that much.
Oh.
Uh, Sort of in line with not prioritizing school. Like I know that I can pass my classes even without going,
Right.
which I kind of discovered in first year when I got into like a really bad depressive episode after my first midterms and like didn't go to a single lecture from like my first midterms to the end of first year. Um,
Did you pass?
I did. I have yet to fail a class.
Wow. It's just the
I've gotten
natural
close.
intelligence.
I think it's just like the ability to bullshit somewhat decently, and also I'm pretty good at like I don't know, just like getting like what I need to pass as far as like how old is Robin? I am 21. Uh, also, no problem. Yeah,
This
I'm
is a
I'm pretty
private
young, I
Q&A
guess.
for my mom.
That's all right. I'm digging it. But yeah, no. I guess just like like I passed a class with a 55 once, and I was like, I know I need to get like at least like a 30 on the exam, and so I just studied for like 2 hours, and I was like, this is probably enough knowledge to get a 30, and then
And
I
it worked.
passed. Yeah, it was
Wow.
a bit of a gamble. I mean, it's definitely a risk, but I don't know. I've
Here you
never like
are.
since getting to university. Yeah, I haven't really had the capacity to kind of deal with that and like actually live my life. So that's why I've definitely kind of chosen to stop caring so much about it.
Well, it's an interesting
Um,
choice that you went to college in the first place. Something that really surprised me when I moved back to LA was like at this startup that I went and worked at, most people hadn't gone to college. And then I just kept meeting more and more people, and they all kind of moved to LA when they were like 17, 18, and actually were really far along in their careers because they didn't, quote unquote, waste that 4 years. Um, and I've just met more and more people who have chosen not to. And like as an artist, it's a big decision.
hmm No, it totally is. I mean, the thing is like one, um, my dad was like super adamant about me getting a degree. So that was definitely part of the decision. And two, I mean, when I first went to school, I was in school for computer science. Like I was
Wow.
yeah, and first I was a really like I had like a 93 average in high school. Like I was a really good student and I put a lot into school. And I
Hmm.
sort of made myself miserable doing that, I realized. And so I was like, I just don't really want to do this anymore. And so I sort of just switched to a program and I found like an appreciation for making art part way through my first year. I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna make it in computer science and I'm not enjoying it anyways. So like let me transfer to art and then like I mean the decision to stay was yeah, I mean obviously I'm in debt because of it, but like it sort of bought me time to sort of figure stuff out and build like connections and make friends and stuff in the meantime. Because like, I mean, when I went, like, I didn't know anybody that I know now other than my friend Dan. Hey Matt, um, like
Hey.
Dan, who's part of Open Pit Cat. Like I've known him since middle school, but otherwise, oh, it's glitching nuts with both of y'all. Is it?
What?
Amanda looks fine for me. I'm like super low res,
What's
but
what's
Amanda seems
glitching?
fine.
It looks fine on my computer.
I think we're chilling. I
Maybe
don't
it's
know.
just the audio, but I don't hear the tick right
Is
now.
I might hear. Um. Anyways, what I was gonna say was just like, I didn't know like Umer or Max or like any of the other people at Open Pit. Like I hadn't done any of this stuff at Open Pit. I hadn't like made any art or anything, and like or even had any of like my local like Toronto. Toronto friends. And so like, as much as I haven't made any of like the connections at school that I think a lot of people. Oh, my stream's glitching. Okay. Even though I haven't really like made the connections at school that like I think traditionally people would like think are important, like I think that I've done a lot with the time that I've been in school, for sure.
Yeah. Well, okay. When did you start making art? Like, what are your earliest memories of like thinking that you wanted to be an artist?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using Photoshop on and off since I was like 10. Uh, which is kind of funny. But there was never like a thing about like thinking about art. Um, I never thought about art or being an artist at all until I was in first year. Um, and then I started like writing when I was really depressed, and like started thinking about like, because I was friends with a lot of like music producers and stuff, and so I was like writing like lyrics and stuff for songs, none of which are good at all. um, but that's sort of like first started that, and then I sort of developed into like, oh, like I can like do like cover art and stuff for like people's songs, and like started doing digital art like that, and it just like went from there. But yeah, I mean, it's really only been like 2.5 3 years that I've been like, and even then like it started and I was like not super sure. But yeah, I mean, I've been in the visual studies program for 2.5 years now, and so yeah, I guess 3 years I've been thinking about like I could probably be an artist.
Wow. And in those 3 years, you've done three drops? How many like products have you dropped in that time? A lot.
I mean, the thing is that all that was this year.
That was all
Like the
this year.
Crocs and the shirts were this year, and like the other Codell stuff was like all the streetcar signs that was this year. Um,
Wow.
yeah, because I mean, like even in like my second year, which was like my first year in visual studies, like I was just kind of figuring stuff out and still just kind of making like mediocre like digital art and not really like super doing anything that I was like. I mean, at the time, I guess I was proud of it, but like nothing really that like I think stands out in any way. Um, but yeah, no, I mean the Club Dal stuff, like the first signs got put up, I think in March. I went out one night. It was so cold. Um, and I remember I went out, I think it was 3 in the morning. I went out and I walked all the way up to the first sign, which was at like Dundas and Roncesvalles, which doesn't mean anything to anyone in this chat, but it's like an hour walk from my house. And I realized I didn't grab the right security Torx bit. So I had to go all the way home and leave again.
Wait,
Um,
what, like the key to open it?
yeah.
Oh my god.
The way that so the way they open is, I have some on my desk here. I'm like out of focus apparently, or just like really low quality. I don't know if it'll.
I can
But
kind
it's
of
just
see
like
it.
this like it's a drill bit that has a hole in the middle of it basically,
Uh-huh.
um, and so it's very like particular, and that's what they use to be able to open the things. And so, yeah, it was
How'd
in
you
March, and I
find
just
one
went
of
out and like
those?
you just buy them on Amazon.
Uh,
I just bought like a full set and went out one night and like tested which one would fit. But then, of course, like I said, didn't bring the right one with me.
wow.
So I had to go all the way home and then go all the way back out again. And then I had to walk all like up and down all the way around the west side of the city. Took me like I think 3.5 hours to put the 10 of them up, walking and like stopping, putting them up, and yeah,
Wow. Worth it? Seems like it was
yeah.
worth
Some
it.
of them are still up,
Wow.
which is
So
fucking insane.
cool.
Like it's been almost a year. It's been like 9 months, and like Elena's is still up. The first one I put up is still there. I think James is like most of the ones on Spadina and Bathurst, which are like main streets, are all gone. But even those lasted like 4 or 5 months, which is insane. I mean, when I put them up, I was like, this will be worth it, like no matter what. But like I expect them to be up for like a couple days,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
some of them are still
obviously
there.
they don't have anything worth replacing them with. It doesn't get better
Yeah, I
than.
mean they're just like boring information signs that like no one like needs.
Yeah. Is Toronto like, is there a lot of outdoor art and like, I don't know, city culture?
There's like not really. I mean, so we have like Graffiti Alley, which is like an alley that just has a bunch of graffiti in it, which is kind of cool. um, which is like on the west side. just like southwest of Queen Spadina, basically. And
Have you ever
then
tagged in there?
I have not. I've never done any like street art. I guess I don't know if the signs count, but never any like graffiti or anything. I've
That
wanted to.
counts. Definitely counts.
Um, Most of the public facing artwork is commercial, so it'll be like an artist gets. I'm forgetting my. I had a Gareth who I've had for a few classes. He's the only prof that I like care about and respect. He was like I had a public art class with him, and he was talking about the way that the like city thing works, and it's like if you're building like a major like building, you have to have like some percentage that goes towards like public art, but then like
Mm.
the corporations can just like hire an artist. I also love Toronto. It's my favorite city that I've been to. um, it's like they just hire like an artist and like to make like a commercial work outside of their building, and so like a lot of the public art is like really mid, to be honest. Like it's not interesting. There's a few cool ones. Mike Alexei, who I talked about earlier, has some really cool ones. um, there's this one I can link you. Let me find it.
What about art museums in Toronto?
So we do have a few. We have the Art Gallery of Ontario, which is like the big one. Um, and then we have like a bunch of smaller galleries. Like there's MoCA, which is the Museum of Contemporary Art, which is on the west side and is like definitely like cooler than the AGO,
Hmm.
but still like pretty big. And then there's like Brickworks, and I was interning at Gallery 1313, which is like an artist-run center. There's a bunch of small galleries kind of all around. Um, but yeah, I think they're definitely copy image address. Is that what I want? A copy. Yeah, hold on.
Do you
Let
have
me
a favorite, or like not even favorite, but like an exhibition that you've seen that really stuck with you? Like, what's the first one that comes to your mind?
That's a really good question. Uh, I don't know. I haven't been to that many. I'm kind of bad at leaving the house. um,
It could
to
be
be honest, I'm
virtual.
bad at like
Could be
going out.
virtual.
There's definitely been some cool virtual ones, but I mean, no virtual one has been like, and obviously Elena, like my friend, has done a lot of the Minecraft ones for us, like those, or all the like ones that we've done at our events. But like, none of them have really been curated in a way that it is like a cohesive exhibition.
Hmm.
Um, which is like obviously fine because it sort of exists in a different space than a traditional gallery, so it sort of makes sense to be like that. Um,
Yeah.
but
Matt says he never leaves the house either.
it's yeah. Here, I'm gonna send it in the chat. Is an art, and I'll send the other one to
I can pull it
Micah.
up
Let's see.
if you send it to me
Yeah,
in
that's
Discord.
that's what I'm thinking. If that works.
I've seen. I love going to art museums, which is funny because when my mom used to take me as a kid to all these amazing museums, I didn't appreciate it, but now I just love it. And I
Uh,
saw this like amazing Arthur Jaffa video
two different
installation
ones.
in DC a couple years ago. But the one exhibit that I will never forget was the Tim Burton exhibit at LACMA in LA, where you literally
Interesting.
felt like you were walking through Tim Burton's brain. It was
Oh, that's
completely
crazy.
immersive. All the rooms were like in full color, lights, like stuff hanging from the ceilings, all of his like original drawings and sketches like on the walls. It was so cool. I feel like I've been to so many amazing exhibitions, but that's just always the one that comes into my head first.
Your mom asked if you remember going to the Venice Biennale. Also, I sent in the
Yes.
chat here the link to them in the VMIX call, VMix call. I think I went to the moment when I was in New York. I don't even remember, to be honest. I think that we just went to like meet someone. Like I don't think I actually walked through it. I know that like Umar
Wait,
had some audio there
there's
for
a
like moment
chat
this
in the
one.
VMix call?
In
I don't.
VMix? Yeah, if you like hover over and then like there's like a chat icon on like the bottom right of like the all the icons.
What? Can you just send it to me in Discord?
I can do that.
I don't want to click something and then it like goes down. I do
No
remember
worries.
going to the Biennale. That was really cool. And I really want to go to MoMA PS1. I've worked with them on stuff, but I have not
Cashmere DJ,
been.
that's sick. Speaking of MoMA, like MoMA Ready is like
Ooh.
probably the best like artist name.
Wait, what's the best artist name?
MoMA Ready, like Club Ready, but it's MoMA Ready.
I don't know them, but I do like that
They
name.
make like cool music. I haven't listened to that much. I just love their name. Whenever I see like girl like retweets their stuff a lot. Whenever I see their name pop up, I'm like, that's such a sick name.
MoMA Ready. That is cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, are you a fan, Matt, of MoMA Ready? But I was gonna say, what have you been listening to lately?
What have I been listening to lately? I don't even know. I mean, like, not much to be honest. It was like perfect name. Yeah, their name is so sick. My Spotify. I've just been listening to like. I mean, like my. I listen to a lot of underscores, like Willie Crooks, Papaya and Friends, like a lot of my friends' music. Listen to some Umru, and then like, obviously some of the hyper pop, like Quinn and Eric and Curtains and Sebi. Listen to some Breakins. Um, I don't know. A lot of what I listen to is also just like shit on SoundCloud and like people's like mixes and stuff. Like I listen to Umru's like student body radio mix like all the time,
Oh,
and
send me that.
um, I will. It's like super good like background music, because it's very chill.
Do you want to
Oh
DJ
hey,
more?
cool. I would love to.
I think I would love for you to
Um,
DJ more too.
I haven't really ever been asked to play like a URL show. I think we talked about this like months ago. Like nobody really knows that I DJ.
I do.
Because I kind of this is true, but I mean like most people because not that I do so much stuff. Like I kind of do a lot of different things, and so it's like
Yeah.
yeah, I've DJ'd shows and stuff, and URL shows too. But most people don't associate that with me. Also,
Wait,
yeah, I
are you
listen to Blade a
saying
lot.
URL shows?
Yeah,
Like
like online
online
shows. Yeah,
Okay. URL versus IRL. Got it.
yeah. Also, I sent you the links to those artworks by Mike Alexier. Also, I just got an email that some CNBC interview I did is live now. So,
What's it about?
ooh. Just open pit stuff.
Exciting. That's awesome. CNBC
Uh,
swag.
yeah. No,
I've
it
been
was weird
listening
because
to
we haven't
Blade
done any
too.
interviews in forever. Been listening to. I mean, I like Echo 2K more than Blade, I think, but I have to give a listen to the new project with like Blade and Mecha Talk.
It's
Um,
good.
haven't listened yet. I've heard like some of like some of the singles like Drama and I think God is the other one, but
You
you
don't
don't
like
like it
it,
so
Matt?
much. I've heard it's very polarizing because I think it's like pretty like electronic compared to Blade's old stuff because Mecha Talk's production on it. Um, but yeah, what have I been listening to on SoundCloud? I don't know, just like weird shit. There's this guy on SoundCloud called DJ Interior Semiotics that makes really good shit. I mean, it's like really weird, but it's good. User 2222 for sure. Lucy Lohan's good. Sebastian Six, yeah. Definitely Oliver, like Murder Club's mixes. Um,
Where's Murder Club been? He hasn't been on Twitch lately.
I don't know. Oliver's all over the place. I mean, really, where he's been is in school.
High school.
Yeah, in high school. Um,
Busy.
formerly known as Visa S2K, formerly known as Valentine, formerly known as another name.
Wait, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
that artist. I mean, one, they have a million aliases. Two, they change their aliases like names all the time.
How do you
Um,
keep track?
I mean, they usually send me like their stuff. Like it's a
Oh,
friend
okay.
of mine,
Yeah,
so
like,
they usually send me shit when it comes out. But also, yeah, I mean, it's just like they also, yeah, I mean, they post about when they change names, but like their new profiles. I mean, there's definitely like I think I probably follow like 10 of their accounts on SoundCloud.
damn.
Got a feature on one of their songs. Oh, that's how. Is it out or not out yet? Credit Card Captor Sakura. That's such a good name. I was watching Card Captor Sakura with like a friend of mine who she watched it like growing up. Um, oh, the clicking. Yeah, it's out. Okay, word.
Sorry about
It's so
that.
hard to keep up with their music. They put out so much, and they delete so much. I have like all the old Valentine, super rare now, which is like so good to play at shows, but haven't been playing any shows. Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, I remember that actually. That's a good one.
can we Let's make a show happen.
That'd be cool. I've been so burnt out. I haven't been doing like anything.
Yeah, you're too busy. But when you want to do one, I mean,
So,
like, whatever I can do to help, just let me know.
for sure. Thank you. Yeah, no, I definitely like have been wanting to, but just school and Robin knows I've been turning down shows. Yeah, we were
Why?
turning down shows. I just don't even get asked.
Why are you turning down
Matt's just busy.
shows? You've turned.
Yeah,
Damn.
Matt keeps turning down our events. I remember you tweeting like every time I say no to these guys and I see the lineup and I'm like, fuck.
They make you feel
Yeah,
depressed because
I
they're
get that.
not
I mean, like,
IRL.
yeah. I remember I saw the lineup. You played that show with like Cash and like Tisa Kareen and shit in LA, right, Matt? Oh, really? Yeah, that lineup was so sick. I remember seeing that. I was so fucking jealous. Like, that's like all the crazy, like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and Zach. Fucking hell. Yeah,
Wait, Zach
insane.
who? Fox?
Adam set that up? Oh, nice. Yeah. Zach Fox played that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Fox.
No, that was a
Zach.
super,
I know
super crazy
Zach.
lineup. Yeah.
Before he gets super famous.
Uh, but he has two songs, true. It's still funny to think about. He really, what does he have, four songs now?
Yeah, not that many. I don't think, like, being a musician is his goal.
Four or five. No,
He's
he's
a
a
comedian.
comedian.
Yeah.
The ticking noise, I don't know. Amanda's not able
I'm
to identify
sorry.
it. But it's gone now.
I
It
don't
has
know how to
disappeared
fix
into the
it.
void.
Matt's gonna have to help me troubleshoot. But we spent 2 hours troubleshooting my OBS, and he fixed all the audio, and then I switched to vMix, and he doesn't know vMix.
I have no idea anything about vMix.
I'm never
I've
using
never even
OBS
heard of it.
again. vMix is what we use
We
for
used
work,
Interesting.
and it's a
We
lot
used to
more
use this
reliable.
thing called Wereby when we were doing like open pit meetings and interviews like every single day. There was like a couple months there where we had like a meeting a day. Like it was insane. It was like a full-time job.
It was a full-time job. It should be a full-time job. It's just so annoying. Like
Yeah.
every venture like that needs investors.
Yeah, but then it's like at that point it stops being like fun. I
And
mean,
it's not
obviously it
cool.
wasn't fun for a while there, but like yeah, when you have investors, you have like people that like things have to get approved by and like you have to act in their best interest and all this shit. And like yeah, I don't know. It's a whole mess. And who knows? We'll probably do another show at some point with Open Pit, but it won't be for a while. Like it might be like a year. Sorry, Open Pit is the name of the group that we did Minecraft events under and do Minecraft events under, which is again how I met Amanda. Um, like
So
charity stuff.
they put on concerts inside the video game, which is called
Mm.
Minecraft.
Open
So
Pit presents.
how many artists on a lineup? Like 30?
Well, like our small ones were like yeah, like 20ish, but then our big ones are like upwards of like 80 artists. Like our 2-day ones, yeah. Yeah, which
That's
is insane. Also, yeah, the video, like, I don't know, I have a really good webcam. My internet's fine, and the vMix just kind of crushing me.
I'm so okay. Should I try to fix it? Let me
It's,
see.
I mean, I'm not that stressed about it.
Well,
Uh,
my quality is good.
yeah, you look fine. It's just my
Hold
4K
on.
webcam.
Let me mess around with this.
Uh,
Resolution 1920 by 1080.
oh,
Frame rate 29.97.
DSLR webcam, like, true. I know that Sean bought like just my friend Sean. I think you've probably played Among Us with Sean, or you might have talked to him. He's like our intern at Open Pit, which is sort of just like a joke, but also he is like our intern.
What
It's like
does
we're
he
all the
do?
unpaid interns.
Yeah.
Um, he directed a video. Actually, yeah, Matt, I was meaning to text you and ask, or DM you on Twitter and ask. Glad to hear it. Yeah, no worries. Me and Max were in like a group chat with Matt when he was like trying to pick his final like PC parts like a month ago or something. Have you seen the stream? Has Robin told you he hates me? Oh my god, Sean, hi. I was actually just talking about how you're the intern at Open Pit and how you, because Matt just mentioned DSLR with Cam Link, and I was like, yeah, Sean like bought like a 7D from like our friend Evan just to use it to like stream with. I don't hate you, Sean. Wait, why do I hate you?
Wait. Will someone follow me so you guys can see my follow notification? Because I need to adjust the size. Because I'm pretty sure there's a
Sean,
giant
follow
dog.
Amanda.
Also, I'm trying to figure... Oh, there it is.
It is a giant dog.
Okay, I need to figure out...
Are you guys still playing Among Us, Sean, or did you...
This.
Wow,
Thanks.
Sean joined... Oh, Sean? Yeah, Sean joined in the middle of Among Us to say that I hate him now. Thank you, Sean.
Stawati?
Have you died? Yeah, that's Sean.
Stawati. Hey, Sean. Thanks for following. Now, guess what? I think I hit affiliate because I have over 50 followers now.
Oh, fire. Let's go. There you go.
Did it the right
Huge.
way.
Nice.
Now, gonna start making the big bucks. You already
If you press the little heart... Oh, okay.
I think.
There's like a little heart button in the bottom right of like the video. If it's like already a full heart that's like filled in white, then you're following.
Also, my mom loves dogs. That's why her username is Dog Nuts. But doesn't it read like Dog Nuts?
Yeah, I definitely was just like, oh, that's interesting. That's a name. I don't know. I mean, you see so many like weird ass names on the internet.
It's supposed to be like nuts about dogs.
Yeah, that makes more sense, especially on Twitch. Yeah, because there's so many people getting like a username. Like I still think about like how Ludwig got Ludwig, which is insane because he's only been streaming for like I think like he's only had that account for probably like I mean actually he might have had the account forever, but he's only been streaming for like 2.5, 3 years. So to have just like Ludwig is like an insane at to have. At kid.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he was a big YouTuber before, right?
No, he like grew his YouTube and Twitch at the same time.
Well, maybe there just aren't that many people named Ludwig.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. How many Ludwigs do you know? Like Ludwig Beethoven, obviously.
Yeah, just him. That's it.
Yeah. No, I think he's joked before about like being the second most famous Ludwig.
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
White
okay,
Armor?
wait. I can. Okay.
White Armor's name is Ludwig? That's crazy.
Who?
White Armor's a Drain Gang producer.
Oh.
Or is he I know he's like Gravity Boys, right? I don't fucking know. Does Gravity Boys still exist? That's the real question.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Gravity Boys.
Gravity Boys is Drain Game. Okay, true.
What? I want to know.
That's like their
more
old
about
name. Because there's like Sad Boys was like Young Lean and like his crew, and like Drain Gang was like like Blade and Echo 2K and like their crew. And like they're all friends. They're still all friends, obviously. The Gravity Boys.
Swedish?
Yes, at least most of them.
And are they
I don't
based
even know
there
if
or are they in London?
I think they're based in Sweden still. I don't know if Lean was trolling when he was like, "Yeah, we all met at like this Britney Spears fan group," like him and Good and Sherman. They're okay, yeah.
Where like what?
Speaking of,
what's the poppin' place in Sweden? What were you gonna say?
Good makes like such good music. Good is like probably my favorite artist out of like all of them. Oh damn, that's crazy. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, like Good's like SoundCloud account is actually goated. Like you just listen to it. It's all just like these crazy like song concepts that are like 1 to 2 minutes and they're all like super pretty and like so different. I don't even think I've listened to all of Exeter. To be honest, like I like Drain Gang and like stuff, but like I'm just bad about listening to like new music and like when an album comes out I'm like, oh that's cool. And then I just don't listen to it. I'll have to go back for sure. I should download some shit for like my flight tomorrow. It's a short flight. It's only 2 hours from here to Nova Scotia, but yeah, I'll download it for sure. Then I'll listen to it on my way to the airport or some shit.
I'm gonna check out like, Good.
Yeah. 53 is like the perfect one. Blade is less experimental. Yeah, I don't know. And like I don't know. I mean like I like Sad Boys too. Like I like Young Lean. I especially like his like alt alias like Jonathan Lean Doer is like really good. Um, so I'll go through his White Armor with Good on a couple. Interesting. Yeah, no, Good's like production is always interesting. Um,
Do you think that they talk about you guys like you guys talk about them?
I
What
mean,
if
I know
they
that like
do?
yes, some of they definitely don't like they're just like super not online, which is like funny to think about. But I know that
Hmm.
like some of them know, like Umru knows some of them and stuff, and like some other people know them and like are kind of like has been in my chat twice. I wonder if it's him. That'd be very interesting. But no, I think that like they're sort of all just like doing their own thing and don't, despite like being like, I mean, they blew up super are like a product of like the age that we live in and like the internet.
Hmm.
Like Young Lean like went viral because of, like his kind of like vaporwave inspired look at the time and like his cloud rap and like blew up like cloud rap, which like definitely wouldn't have happened before the internet.
What year was
Um,
that? That Young Lean blew up.
was that was that in 2012 or when was that?
Wow, it's a long time ago.
Um, 2013 is when Ginseng Strip 2002 came out, which was like his first like blow up song, I think. So yeah, like 2012 would have been.
Damn.
Um, yeah, and then Drain Gang, I think like sort of happened like I think after that. I don't know. I'm not super into the whole lore of it. I just know a little bit about it because they're interesting people to kind of learn about, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting how like at a certain point, like I mean, it's the same thing with people like like Sophie and stuff like who are definitely like kind of a product of the internet, and then like at a certain point you just reach that like status where it's like you don't really exist on the internet anymore as like a personality, and it's just like you're sort of just like this figure, and you sort of like
Hmm.
kind of transcend it. Like Sophie doesn't really have any internet presence, but still has like this
Right.
like mythic status and is like revered by like the internet.
So true. So like the
Yeah.
most stands and like just dedicated diehard following even though they're not putting anything actively out. And it's so funny cuz so many people struggle to like produce content to keep their
Hmm.
following engaged. But it's like
Yeah.
if what they're offering is good enough and you know at some point there'll be more, it doesn't really matter if you continue to give them stuff all the time.
Hmm. Which is cool. And yeah, I don't know. I've definitely been like, also, yes, skirt. That makes sense. Let's turn down the sponsor stream. Ooh, what were you, who? What was the sponsor stream? I'm curious now. Um,
Oh, it was a
like,
gaming. They wanted him to play a game.
ooh,
Not enough
oh,
money.
yeah. Fuck Raid Shadow Legends. Glad you turned that down. Um, I mean, get your bag. I'm never gonna judge anyone for taking a sponsor, but like, yeah, Raid Shadow Legends sketchy. Um, uh, but yeah, I've definitely been thinking about it because like, after I sort of stopped talking to like that girl, that I was talking to online and stuff, and I was like evaluating and like down bad, as they
Mhm.
say. I like really have just been trying to like be online and at my computer like as little as possible, and it's like so weird because like all of my friends are from like the internet, and like I've definitely gotten a lot out of it, and like still like value a lot of things, and like definitely enjoy consuming stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't like think about it the same way anymore. Like it's weird to kind of just think about like doing that, and like I mean especially like relationship type stuff. Like I don't know. I mean like being with someone like physically and like being around someone is just like such a different feeling, and something that I haven't really like been experiencing. Obviously, especially because of quarantine, but in general, I mean the majority of my friends
Mhm.
have not been like in Toronto, and like now a lot of them have moved out of the city, so I don't really see a lot of people, and so just to be like spending time with people in person again, like it's such a different feeling, and it
Yeah,
just feels very like freeing in a way
totally.
because like
It's
when you're on the internet, you're always thinking about like everything else. There's like the context of the entirety of the internet.
Yeah. It's daunting and vast and pretty unhealthy. And the fact that you already like are trying to distance yourself is amazing. And you feel like you have, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, one, I've just been super fucking busy with like screen printing, so I'm just like not at my computer for like 8 hours a day, anyways.
Mhm.
But two, yeah, I've just been like, I mean, obviously as responsibly as possible. I've only really been like hanging out with like like three or four people because like
Yeah.
COVID and stuff. But um, yeah, I mean like spending time with people and like yeah, this one girl that I've seen a couple of times, like I usually go and like meet her at like her work, which is like it's good just to like take the subway. As much as I don't like the subway, like just to take the subway and like go see like a different part of the city that I don't like. I never go to the East End. I don't like the
Mhm.
East End, but like just to kind of go and like see what it's like there.
What's it like? What's over there?
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty similar to here, but like lame is basically. I don't know. I mean, like the West Side has like like the fashion district and stuff. Like, not that I live in the fashion district, but like it definitely has a lot more culture. It feels like, at least, and the East End is just kind of like, it's there.
Mhm. I'm curious.
Yeah.
So, I also would like to disconnect. Like, I don't like being on Instagram. It's unhealthy. But I feel like I'm missing. Like, I feel like for work or just like being on top of like what's happening culture wise and art wise and
Like
music
that sense of
wise,
FOMO.
kind of. I don't know. I don't know. I can't actually place like what I'm specifically afraid that I'm not going to see. But as someone who manages to stay like so on top of everything, like how are you doing that without Instagram? Or do you feel like you're doing that?
I mean, like, I think that it's kind of about like I've just gotten to the point where I like kind of reevaluated like what I care about, and
Mhm.
it's like I don't know. I mean, I'm still online enough that like yeah, I'll scroll through like my Twitter feed, which I don't follow that many people. So like, seeing what my friends post about, or like, like talking to my friends like one on one or like in small groups and like seeing what they're kind of, doing, and like that's kind of what matters to me. And it's just like I don't know, whatever else happens happens, and like nothing that I'm doing like depends on anything else.
Mhm.
Like nothing that I'm making or nothing that I'm thinking about like should be directly influenced by anything that's like urgently
That's
happening.
that's the difference. That's what it
Yeah,
is. Cuz I feel like for
because
my
yeah, you're
job,
definitely
I have to like
yeah.
keep up, like especially I need to know game releases, like I need to be seeing what people are talking about, which I guess that's what I'm getting paid for in a sense. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like yeah, it's totally like a different thing. And I mean, I guess it's about finding ways to kind of, I guess, make that like a job thing if it's something that you don't want to be like part of your kind of outside of work life, right? Like
Mhm.
finding ways to kind of separate it from your like, because again, like I, am on social media and stuff still, like I see other stuff, but like it's sort of separated from all that where I'm not really like thinking about what else is happening.
Yeah. That's really nice. I envy that. I have a random question. It's
Go
two
for it.
part. What do you think about documentaries and would you ever want to be in one?
I think documentaries are really cool. I haven't watched any in a while. I'm trying to think of the most. I went through like a phase. Um, I watched. I don't even remember. I'm also a really big fan of like mini docs. I think that like the Vice mini docs are all really well done.
So good.
Um, and they're always just like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, like I don't like to be kind of like directly influenced by anything that's happening like immediately. But I think that documentaries, as much as they're obviously meant to capture like interesting subjects and like focus on like important things, there's such a kind of mundane thing. Like thinking, like
Mhm.
hearing, like without like the dramatization, like a story about something is very kind of like not super engaging in that kind of way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like these details and like these sort of just like obscure and interesting things that are covered in them, especially like again like the mini docs and stuff that like it's super cool, and I think like generative to kind of watch them.
Mhm.
I don't know if I would. I would want to be in one. I don't think I would ever like want a documentary about me or anything like that. But I think it would be cool to like be part in one. I mean, I guess in like the internet mini doc sense of the word, like we were in the extremely online like online concert. We've been in a few videos like that, and
Hmm.
so I guess in some capacity I've existed in like a documentary kind of video, but not
Yeah,
like a
that's just so surface
documentary.
level, you know? I
Yeah,
personally, like, I
totally.
love the human experience and, like,
Hmm.
the social dynamics of, like, what's happening behind the scenes and, like, how these, like, art communities are created is what I find interesting.
Totally. And it is such a weird thing, and I mean, thinking about how that happened and like pinpointing it in words is like such an impossible thing. I mean, like I've talked about how like yeah, I just like joined a Discord server and this person was like, "Hey, do you want to play Minecraft mini games?" Or like, "Hey, does anybody?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And then like I got invited to Nice Crew and like that's how like I met all my friends, but like obviously there's a bunch of people who have like, been in that position and didn't become really good friends with everyone or kind of came and went and like so it is like so much more kind of like just a bunch of like happenstance and like you know when I kind of first joined Nice Crew, like I definitely would have never like been like, oh, like Umer's someone that like I'll be really close with.
Did
Like
you
that'll be one
know
of my
who Uru
closest friends.
was already?
I didn't know who anybody was, but like after I joined Nice Crew, I'd like made a Twitter, and so I was like, oh, like Umer's like this big person, and so I was like, one, I was like, I don't know who he is, and like he's not really like in Nice Crew that much. Like I've talked to him a couple of times, so I was like, whatever, like he's just not online that much, so like we won't be friends. And like I've kind of always, I think probably because of joining social media so late, I never really cared about people's like. It's never been like a social climbing thing.
Right.
Obviously, like it's just people just have followers, like it's whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and it's, I mean, obviously something everyone is influenced by. Like, yeah, at some point I was like, oh, like it's cool, I got 1,000 followers. Like it's cool, I have this many. Like, but I think it's not something I like stress about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like Umar was like not super online and like seemed sort of like yeah, like he's probably got other stuff going on. But yeah, I mean now he's like one of my best friends and like other people like just around like that. Like it's just weird to think about. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean the total like happenstance of a bunch of people in that server like being in Toronto or like being from like Southern Ontario
Yeah.
is also
Like,
just like
what?
crazy.
So, such a crazy coincidence.
Mhm.
But also, I don't
And
know
yeah,
if
like
I
literally.
believe in coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that coincidence is like obviously influenced and stuff and like everything is sort of like a decision that's being made, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
Or, no, I don't. What were we going to say?
I don't know. Yeah, I was just gonna be like, yeah, like I don't know, like yeah, because it's easy to just kind of brush stuff off as coincidence, but it's like yeah, like everything is probably like earned and deserved and like intentional in some capacity.
Yes. Agreed. I was saying in more it's like fate. You were
Right,
meant
like in
to
like a
meet these
spiritual kind of
people.
way, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, but I see kind of like two groups that have actually like come together, but there's like the Canadian crew and then there's the St. Louis crew. But it's actually like a phenomenon that happens frequently that like people who grow up together or like in the same place come up together. You know, like if there's like
Hmm.
one, all it takes is one really talented person to elevate all of their friends. And in this case, there's multiple talented people coming from both places, but then they've like almost joined.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, like if you think about that and like you look at like Open Pit, yeah, I mean, like obviously we all brought stuff to the table, but like it's not as if like if it was like just like me doing that, like I don't have any like contacts or anything. Like I was like small, and so it's like yeah, totally. Like we all kind of came up together because we all kind of brought something, and like yeah, like people having already been in like the music scene forever and having friends that were like big musicians like allowed everyone to grow bigger and stuff. Like if you're looking at it like that, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's just the beginning.
Yeah, presumably. I mean, hopefully. Who knows? Maybe I've peaked. Maybe this is I'll fall off from
Absolutely
here.
not.
We'll see, I guess, but I
No,
don't think so. I mean, I think that I'm not out of ideas yet, but
definitely
it's
not.
definitely.
I'm very excited for you and to see what's next.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely intimidated, but I don't know. I mean, I've always kind of figured stuff out, and I think that it'll be cool to kind of be able to do that more. And yeah, just be done with school for sure, and like, because yeah, it is like even like work. It's like more than working like a full time job in a lot of ways, for sure.
Definitely. It was
Because it never really ends.
exactly. It's so nice. I still think about how nice it is to like not have homework. Like work ends when work ends and then you have a life.
Exactly. Whereas here, it's like, oh yeah, I have like all these final projects due. And it's like, even if I'm not like putting as much time as other people, it's still like something that weighs on you and something that takes a lot of thought, I guess.
Mhm.
Which is weird because like, I was talking about, I guess to circle back to art stuff. Um, I was talking about how I kind of like have an idea and I just do stuff as fast as possible, but like I think also it's a lot of kind of like a lot of very like passive thinking about stuff that happens over like a pretty long time span, and then like once it kind of reaches a certain point, then it all wraps up really quickly.
Mhm.
Like with this book idea, like I had it like maybe a week or two ago, and I've just sort of like whenever I'm like not thinking about anything else, it'll sort of just pop into my head and be like, oh yeah, like I should probably like think about like what would be like a good like source kind of like theme for this, or like a reference for people to draw from, and then like this other stuff. And like once I kind of refine that enough and like kind of pick one or two like final things, and it'll all just like happen really fast, and I'll reach out to all the artists and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god, I just hit my desk. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a lot of trial and error and like workflow practice and just like slowly figuring out what works best for you.
Mm-hmm. Which actually, figuring out one of the things that worked best for me was not like, because they're always like in school, they're like, oh, like make multiple versions of like a project, like make like sketches, like make this like your first idea isn't going to be like your best one necessarily and stuff like. And it's like I like just totally disagree with that.
Hmm.
And I think it's probably again because of that way of thinking where it's sort of just on my mind in the background for like a while before I actually start anything. But like the way that I make stuff is just like once I have decided on something, like I'm just gonna make it, and that's like this it. Like I'm not gonna change it or like go back.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And I actually think that that's just an indication of you trusting your gut and trusting your intuition, which we're basically trained and raised not to do. Like, we're taught to gaslight ourselves and, like, not listen to our instinct and
True.
overthink. And it's so damaging. Like,
Mm-hmm.
finding the power to trust yourself and just go with what your body's telling you will get you so much further.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And like, yeah, it's super true. And I mean, like, it's sort of something I've been struggling with lately because I have really bad sort of anxiety, and so there's a lot of times, especially in looking back in sort of a relationship context, where I think that I need to not trust my gut. But there's
Mm-hmm.
also definitely things where it's like still we're like valid to be like concerned about or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's
Yep.
just like been weird to kind of think about that and think about like how that kind of balance exists, and like when I should be trusting myself and when I like am able to kind of recognize that I'm being unreasonable and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's super weird, and it's been difficult for sure.
Well, it's super normal. I can't tell you how many of my friends experience similar things and, blame themselves for feeling insecure or blame themselves for feeling jealous. And I always remind them that if your partner was giving you what you needed, you wouldn't feel like that. It's not
Hmm.
just your fault. It's not just your job to feel secure in a relationship. It helps when you love yourself and you feel confident. But if the other person isn't doing their part, it's like it's just hard to accept that sometimes when you really want it to
Hmm.
work.
No, definitely. And like it doesn't make it any easier like recognizing that either,
Mm-mm.
which is why it sucks so much because it's still just like something that's on the mind and something to think about, which like never really gets easier. Uh,
Yeah, relationships are hard. I'm
Definitely.
loving being single.
That's good. No, I mean I think it's cool. I don't know. I mean, I the last time I was in like, before very recently having been talking to someone. The last time I sort of talked to someone was in first year and it was like another person I was just talking to online and they would just wound up being like, really manipulative and like emotionally abusive and just wound up being a very bad situation for me and led to me getting into like a depressive episode and this whole thing.
Hmm.
Um, and so after that, obviously it took me like I think a year, almost 2 years. Congratulations, Sean. What an appropriate time to jump in with that. Took me like a year, maybe 2 years to like really get over her and to kind of be like kind of happy with myself again. And like, I've always had a lot of things I feel very self conscious about.
Hmm.
Um, I've always been very insecure in myself. And then, yeah, most recently, like talking to this girl and sort of like, feeling like after it ended, kind of losing someone again, but knowing that I didn't want to be back in the place I was in, like, so like immediately just like starting therapy, starting anti-anxiety, antidepressants, like, and just kind of like forcing myself out of my comfort zone a lot and like putting myself out there and sort of like realizing that I'm a very different person than I was like a few years ago, and also just like I don't know, I don't have that much to be that self-conscious about. People see like it feels super like conceited to say, but like people seem to like me, and like there's a lot of girls that like have you know I don't know taken interest in me or whatever, and it's just like kind of a very interesting thing to realize, and it's just like yeah, like obviously I still am sort of healing from the situation that I was in, and still think about it and am sad about it. It's definitely not the same thing where I'm like, oh, like I'm never gonna find someone like like this person was so like perfect, like no one's gonna like me like that and stuff. Like I don't know, it's just very different and sort of relieving in a way to be like, yeah, like it'll be fine. Like it sucks now, but I can recognize that like yeah, I'm a relatively interesting person that people would want to be around. I don't know.
Relatively. Well, that's like amazing progress. That's
Hmm.
so awesome. It just makes me really happy to hear
Thank you.
how much
Yeah.
you've grown and that you're recognizing these things. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely took me like a really long time to kind of get to that point. And I think obviously is still something where I have like again, it's a lot of mundane stuff that are just so self-conscious about and so like weirded out by.
Hmm.
But but yeah, I mean, I think a combination of kind of everything that we've been talking about has definitely sort of led to that and
Yeah.
has been good. Yeah.
And I mean, not only do you have to put yourself out there with dating, but you're putting yourself out there by being a creator and making art. And I think that's scarier than dating. And you do that
Yeah.
no problem.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I think I sort of cheat that by just not thinking about it so much, which I guess is probably also a good lesson to not overthink so much in relationships. Also, thank you
Yeah.
to Amanda's mom. Like, it's a nice thing to say.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
very mature 21-year-old.
I try. I mean, I guess I
Imagine
don't try. I don't know.
you do try, and that's what shows.
Yeah,
It really does.
it's definitely. Yeah, it was funny. Like this friend group, the people that I'm friends with now. Like I'm pretty in the middle as far as age goes, which is interesting because before that I was like always the youngest person. I mean, my friend Dan, who I mentioned, who's like, I mean, I'm still friends with Isaiah, who was a year younger than me, but like we were never super close before. We've been like closer actually since like we both kind of. I mean, he's still living in our hometown, but like since I moved out and stuff. But Dan's 2 years older than I am, and so I was kind of friends with him and like people in his grade. And then my old friend group, I was like a year or two younger than everybody. My old like online friend group, um, and so it's definitely like, yeah, used to being around older people, and it's interesting to sort of be in the middle and be in the same position as a lot of people. I mean,
Mhm.
it's cool to sort of be relatable, and also was definitely a thing where I'm like, especially being around younger people, you compare yourself to them because I mean, like, yeah, you look at some of the hyper pop kids, and it's like, oh, they have like a career and they're like 16, like they're signed to like a major label,
Who?
like Glaive.
I
Um,
don't know them.
Glaive makes really good music, or like Quinn. I mean, I don't think she's signed to any labels, but I mean, Quinn has like more monthly listeners than Echo 2K, like on Spotify, like,
Wow.
and I think she just turned 17, like,
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh.
and so it's like insane to kind of think about that. But then it's like, and but more like I would compare myself to my friends a lot, and like, oh, like they're like successful, like somewhat successful like music careers, or they're doing this, and it's like, I don't know. I've kind of learned that like I'm doing like, it's, yeah, important to not do that. And like, yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends aren't like in post secondary, and aren't, I mean, like, it sucks, and my school is actually just really terrible. But I mean, like, as far as like rankings go, it's the best school in Canada, um,
Wow.
and is like super like aggressive about their grading and stuff because of that. And so it's like kind of dealing with that, and then like also like all this other stuff, and it's just like, yeah, like maybe like everyone's just in a different position. Like I don't think anyone's necessarily in a better or worse position than I am.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's just society is structured so that everything is a competition. Like just the fact that you
Mm-hmm.
go to competitive school, you know, last night we
Totally.
were talking about the stupid like Forbes 30 under 30 list, which like makes
Mm,
people super self-conscious of their age. And it's just like it doesn't matter, you know? Like if you're able
totally.
to relate to anyone, like it's so ridiculous. I'm 28. My most recent ex-boyfriend is 24. Matt and I were
Mm.
talking about how we're like the old people. But
True.
we're not, you
But you're
know?
not old at all. Like that's
I
the thing, yeah.
know.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, the whole like internet people like who are really active on the internet, like, yeah, it just seems to keep getting younger and younger, and so it's like makes people feel old, and it's like still like in the first like third of our lives, like first like quarter of
Mhm.
our lives.
I want to stay like
And
this
like,
forever. I want to know what my kids are talking about. I want to be like hip to whatever's cool, whenever that is, you know?
yeah, no, I mean, like, I think that's definitely interesting. And yeah, I mean, like thinking about my parents, and like kind of how they exist, and like my relationship with them, and like seeing other, like, because my parents are relatively old, like they're in their late 50s.
Mhm.
um so they're relatively old when they had me and my sister, compared to like other friends of mine, and just like other people in that age group. I mean, like, my the prof that I like, Gareth, he's not that old. I think he's in his 40s, if I had to guess, or late 30s. um but like, he's like relatively like online, like, and like is able to kind of like talk on like the same level as like someone my age, like doesn't, you know
Wow.
it's always had like a weird relationship with my dad, because it always has been like that sort of like respect thing, where it's like, like your parents, so you can't really like talk to them like casually.
Mhm.
um but definitely like getting older, like my mom and I've like, my relationship's gotten a lot better, just like being able to sort of kind of exist on the same level in a way. Like
Yeah.
obviously it's still your parents, so you still have like that kind of innate respect for them, and they'll always be your parents, but like not feeling like you can't like be yourself around them or whatever.
Mhm.
uh, which,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely feel like if I ever have kids, it's not something I want my kids to have to feel like.
Yeah. It's I mean, it is work to keep up with culture,
Hmm.
but for people like you and me who are passionate about it, it just comes very naturally. I don't think we're ever going to have a problem with that. And it's something, it's like, I think about it all the time, you know? And like, most of my friends would not be able to have these kind of conversations. And they're not on Twitch, you know? Like, they
Hmm.
don't, we relate, we talk about other things. than
For
music
sure.
and art and gaming and all of that. And a lot of the people that I am friends with that I can talk to about that stuff are younger than me. Um, but I feel lucky that I like that door is open, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Also, good night, Amanda's mom. But I can't talk about parents when your mom's.
She's not leaving. She's
But
still listening.
um, but yeah, no, I mean like totally. And I mean, in on one hand, it's like kind of also so nice to be around people who like I mean you can relate to, but aren't like don't have such the same interests as you and aren't like the exact not the exact same, but you know like just talking to people about like stuff that you wouldn't normally or like wouldn't normally consider like having friends that are like into different things
Yeah.
I think is really valuable and like a good way to kind of get different perspective on stuff for sure and like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's honestly been a struggle for me. I realized that a lot of my friends aren't very creative, and
Hmm.
some of them are. Fewer of my friends are. And I realized that I was limiting myself based on who I was around. Like, I would never bring up certain things or like suggest creating something if I was around someone who I had pegged as like, you're not into this. And I
Right.
was just limiting myself so much. Like, why wouldn't they want to support me if I wanted to like make a music video that day
Yeah, of
for
course.
fun? You know? And like, ever since I realized that I was being that judgmental, it's like opened my life. And I'm like, it doesn't matter who I'm hanging out with. They can be the coolest person ever or not. Like, I can still be myself and talk about whatever I want to talk about and do whatever I want to do.
Hmm. No, absolutely. And like yeah, I mean if they're your friends like they'll support you like however like fits and like yeah, I mean if you're talking about doing something creative like they could totally have like a different perspective on it and like kind of a different
Mm-hmm.
view and like I don't know, even though a lot of the time, I mean like I'm very kind of set in my ways when I am like doing creative work and like am have a very strong idea usually and just like lead with that. Like it's still interesting to hear what other people think, even if I usually disagree with it, just to like hear other people's thought processes and stuff
Yeah.
and like be able to kind of work through that and like internalize it also and just be like, okay, like this is what someone else would do. And it's like, why are you doing something different? And like what about that appeals to you? Like what doesn't? And like all of that, which I think is super valuable. And yeah, I don't know. It's definitely just like all sort of this process of trying. And I mean, you know, being around people like your friends, it's super important. I think to have friends who will like tell you if you're doing something they don't agree with.
Hmm. Well, why? What? Elaborate. Because I would say, fuck you, if my friend told me that. Unless I was like doing something really bad, but like I wouldn't do that.
But I mean, that's the thing is that you wouldn't necessarily think you're doing something bad, and it's just like, you know, being able to get in disagreements about things with your friends and like be able to respect each other's kind of opinions on stuff is super. I mean, like, yeah, Dan and I don't think we've ever been in like a fight, but like, you know, we get in arguments all the time
Hmm.
because we have like different taste and we have different things that we like value. And so it's just like, I don't know, I think a very good way in like a very comfortable space because like, I guess, you know, it's probably hard to find. I mean, yeah, I've been friends with Dan forever, and I think we have a lot of mutual respect for each other, so that comfort is there. But like, you know, being able to like express yourself in a comfortable space and like get into like a disagreement and like kind of be able to really like think through your own thoughts and also hear other people like doing the same thing is
Mm-hmm.
pretty like eye opening for sure.
I agree. I wish I had more people that I felt like I could do that with. I'm trying to think, like, I don't know.
It's
I
definitely
don't,
hard to come by.
yeah. Like, I would go to friends to talk about, like, life stuff and get their opinion, but I'm kind of past that now. I'm like, I don't really care what
Mm-hmm.
anyone thinks.
Right.
I'm just doing my own thing, and it feels amazing.
No, that's
Um,
great.
but like even just doing this Twitch show, like this is the most I've ever put myself out there. My
Mm-hmm.
parents now that my mom's not here. They scared the fucking shit out of me. Like, I was terrified of the internet. They were like, if you post something bad, like, your life is over. Like,
Hmm.
you were done, you know? So I was, like, always afraid and, like, super self conscious of exposing myself in any way. And,
Oh,
like,
she's still here.
oh, hey, mom.
She didn't actually leave. She faked you out.
You scared me. I was too afraid. But now I'm doing it.
I mean, I think every parent, I mean, definitely in your age group and in my age group, probably a lot of parents, it was definitely the thing to be afraid of the internet. And I mean, I think especially for girls, there's even more like validity to that. Young girls on
Yeah.
the internet, but
And it,
um,
no, go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
I was just gonna say like yeah, like I think it's definitely important to be smart about it. And I mean like I was talking about probably probably before your mom came here, like um, like yeah, there's probably a picture of my dick just on the internet, um, and like to like think about like telling my parents that would be like weird for sure, and like I would never tell my dad that. Like I would definitely just tell my mom like how like it's just like something very like weird and like funny to think about. But no, I mean it is something where yeah, there's a lot of scary bad shit on the internet. I mean like I think I talked about it last time. I mean there's people that I've interacted with before that are like in prison now.
Mm-hmm.
Like um oh, you heard it the first time? Okay. Well, good to hear it again. Bringing it back. There's people I've been around with in prison. There's like people that aren't and like should be like, you see
Yeah.
like again because it's so easy to just lie on the internet. Like I've seen, chat logs of people admitting to really, really terrible, terrible, vile things. Um, and like that exposure to things, which I think is definitely very formative, but
Mm-hmm.
can also be super traumatic. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that like the internet is like the greatest outlet to like learn and also for like creativity to like exposure to different things. I mean, like, you know, I don't know if you were around like on Newgrounds when it was like a thing, um,
No, what is that?
but like, Newgrounds was like it was before YouTube, that it was like a thing, and it was like a platform to just like upload videos and like all of like the animators from that generation, like if like I'm sure you've heard of like Ego Raptor from like the Game Grumps, or you've at least heard of Game Grumps, um, presumably. No. Oh man. um, Anyways, basically a whole generation of super like now super talented and like kind of infamous artists all came up on Newgrounds together because it was just this like platform for creatives to upload stuff, and like there was no like moderation or like content filters and stuff, and so it's like yeah, like going on there and just like seeing stuff. Like I remember like I'd have to like close the browser if like my parents like walked in the room, and it wasn't like like weird, like it wasn't like I was sitting there like watching porn, but just like like mature like stuff that like you wouldn't necessarily be like exposed to in like this sort of unfiltered view of like all this different stuff.
Hmm.
um
Yeah, that was like when I
Super
would
like
watch The Real World and my mom would walk into the room and be like, "What is this?"
the real world, oh man. Yeah, but like that sort of stuff, like I don't know, I mean I think that there's definitely a certain amount of like stuff that you shouldn't necessarily be exposed to that like is good to be exposed to at a young
Mm-hmm.
age, and I
Yeah.
think it sort of teaches you. And I mean, yeah, there's obviously like risks and like yeah, growing up, spending a lot of time on the internet, like again, like you are probably one encounter away from something really bad happening, but
Mm-hmm.
like you kind of learn how to navigate it and become smarter about it, and like I guess it's sort of like this whole other like kind of language of existing. Um,
Totally. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I definitely was kind of coming of age right as the internet was taking off. And I
Hmm.
remember they were like, I went to an all girls school too. So they were
Oh,
very
crazy.
hardcore about making sure we didn't get sex trafficked or
Hmm.
abducted through the internet. Um, but I think it's really interesting that so many parents try to keep their children sheltered for so long and then like pull the rug out from under them, and the kids just like, oh my god, I live in this like insanely fucked up place. And I had no idea. And now it's just crushing on me all at once.
Yeah. No, that's very true. I think that definitely like yeah, because I'm trying to think like I don't know at what point I sort of was like, oh yeah, like I have a bunch of friends that I only know from the internet, you know, to my parents. Like I don't know how that kind of progressed because that
Oh
happened in
yeah,
like
how
middle
did they
school.
respond?
I don't know. I mean, and the thing is like I think that even at that young of an age, it's so easy to actually identify if someone's who they say they are, like on like a base level.
Hmm.
Because it's like I don't know, like especially back in those days, like we would just like Skype call like on video, like all of us for like like 10 hours a day and just like hang out and play games and like talk and shit. And so it's like it's pretty obvious at that point.
Yeah,
Um,
no one's like
and like
wearing a mask.
yeah, no one's like a 40-year-old dude or anything. Like you can kind of navigate it like that. And like
That would be
again, like
scary.
obviously there's other acquaintances and stuff. But yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, I guess because I knew Dan in person and that's kind of how I met my first friend group online. So I guess there was that kind of connection. But I'm trying to think. I mean, I know that my dad always knew that I had friends online, but I never really. When I was growing up, I lived 1 week at my dad's house, 1 week at my mom's house,
Hmm.
and basically when I was at my dad's, he was very like weird about me being on the computer, and so I would never like call my friends at all. So basically, just not talk to anyone the whole time I was there, and I would go
Hmm.
to my mom's, just like talk to my friends all the time. Um, but they both like knew, and at one point, like my friend Andrew, not the Andrew you've met, but Andrew Dumick, who's a someone I've known also since middle school, but just from the internet. But
Hmm.
he came when I was in like high school to hang out with me and Dan in person and like stayed at my house and stuff. And so I don't really remember how that conversation went, but I think again, just like with like knowing Dan in person already and stuff, like it kind of made it easier. But yeah, I mean, my mom has met a few of my friends, and now actually, it's funny. I think my sister's met the most of any of them because like Max was doing this like installation of like some architecture stuff that he'd done in Hamilton, and my sister happened to be in town. So like Sean, who was here, and Ando and Eden, or excuse me, Emma, um, and a bunch of us all went and like were there together. And so my sister just wound up meeting a bunch of them, which was funny.
At
Um,
this, what was at the same time you were meeting them for the first time?
no, I'd already known all of them. It would be fucking crazy if we both met them at the same time. That'd be so
You're
jet.
like, and here's my sister.
Yeah, also here meeting for the first time, and
I
Micah was there. Yeah.
I I have met friends on the internet. I
Mm-hmm.
think Ravenna was like my first friend that I made on the internet, but I like met her soon after we like started talking. But I think you and Matt are like the first two people that like I consider good friends and like have gotten to know so well over the internet that I think about what it'll be like when I actually meet you in person. And I'm like, what is that even gonna be like? And then I've like had multiple weird dreams about us hanging out. And I'm like, is this because we haven't met that I'm like imagining what it'll be like?
I've been told I'm the exact same in person
That's good.
as I am online, which is interesting because I know a
What
lot
does
of my
that
friends are very
mean? Like, I don't expect
like
your
I'm
personality to change.
well, some people are. I mean, um, I mean, especially like previously, but like Riley, her like online persona is like insane. Like super like
Hmm.
aggressive and like super like outgoing and super just like you know not like edgy, but like whatever. But like in person, she's like super shy and like sweet and like timid and like really nice. I mean, she's nice online too, but like just like totally
Did
different
something
online.
happen with that? I noticed a shift.
Yeah, Riley and Umer broke up sadly a few
Yeah,
months ago, a couple
that's
months ago.
sad.
So it's very sad, but yeah. But yeah, I was just thinking of that. Or like Umer, also actually very good example. Like people hate Umer because they're like he's such an asshole because his online persona, especially like again, like when he was younger, was like he's like a shithead. Like, but like in
Really?
person, like he's such a like. I mean, I say this because I love Umer. Like Umer's like a pussy. Like, especially previously again. Like, and I mean that in a loving way. Like he's super again, like just super shy and like super sweet in person. Um, and like, but yeah, like online people just like hate him. And I mean that's also just like Charlie stans who hate everyone. But Yeah, he gets bullied like a
Charlie
lot
stands
online.
hate Umer?
Yeah, Charlie stans hate everyone. I think Charlie stans hate Charlie. Um, but yeah, no,
Wow.
people say mean stuff about Umu, which I
Damn.
can't even imagine like dealing with that like all the time. He's a he's a trooper for that, like putting up with all that for real. Um,
I I miss this stuff, apparently. I only see the good things. I like miss all the like shit posting.
yeah, well, I mean that's because like in public, I think people try not to give too much attention to it because no one like feels it, you know.
Mhm.
So it's
Sucks.
generally like
And
yeah,
also
no
like
one
they
really.
always shit on the people that they're jealous of. They're like, "Oh,
Oh, for
he has a
sure. Yeah,
sick
I mean that's
career."
definitely another thing. Like so many of the people, yeah, with like Umar were just like, oh, like he doesn't like deserve this, like whatever, like, which is just such a terrible thing to say. Like, and again, it's just
So
like
fucked
random
up.
people who are just like upset about, whatever, just chose to be upset that day. But yeah, no, I mean, all of that is weird. But yeah, no, I mean, um, I had a long like online friend who was friends with both Dan and I, who like came and like you guys like argue as much in person as you do online. And I was like, yeah,
That's so funny. Wow, I think
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't want to make like a gendered statement, but I think I don't know, amongst my friends like there isn't a lot of like fake fighting because things get taken pretty personally, like between girls.
Mm.
Um but also I'm like pretty sensitive. I'm just not into that.
I'm also a super sensitive person, but not about that. I mean, like I'm, like joke insulting with like your friends and stuff. Like when you know that you're friends with them, I think is something that happens a lot. And like I think especially before I'd like used to do it too much because actually like I had been in Nice Crew for a while and I kind of knew everyone before like Max's birthday party in 2018, like the first like Minecraft event. But
Hmm.
that was sort of when I started to know people more because I was just like around and helped build with that. But like Max used to like hate me because he thought I was just an asshole because I would, like I swear a lot and I kind of have like, kind of like again like I have that like kind of joking, insulting thing that I do with people I'm close with. And I guess I just did it and like he was like, yeah, like he's such an asshole. And now
Oh
obviously,
my
Max and I are
gosh.
good friends, but
Max like he
yeah.
gives a very like wholesome vibe, like
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I can imagine him maybe not swearing a lot.
Yeah, Max doesn't swear that much, I think, and he's also, yeah, I mean, he's just very like calm energy, which I mean might just be
Mhm.
because he's like giant, so like he kind of has like that gentle giant vibe, but um,
I thought you guys were
like
the
he
same
makes me
height.
feel short. Well, no, he's I think like an inch or two taller than me, but I feel so short when I'm around him.
What?
Same thing
How
with like
tall do you think
Jaden. I
I
mean,
am?
are you like 5'5", 5'6"?
I'm
Are you
5'2".
shorter? Oh my God, you're so short. I'm a foot taller than you. That's crazy.
I'm quite small.
Yeah, it's always funny because like all the Canadians are all tall. Like Ando's like 6 foot, Sean's like 6'1", Max is like 6'3", and like there's a couple Americans like Jaden who's like 6'4", but like most of them like Umru and Devin and everybody are like like mid 5 foot,
Wait,
and so
who's
we just like
Jaden?
tower over them. Drive 45.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hasn't been like online at all.
Yeah.
He's just working and stuff. I actually called. Yeah, I FaceTimed him today, and he answered. He hasn't been answering me lately, but he answered. He's like, "I'm at work. I just wanted to say hi before I said bye." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay, bye."
Oh,
Um,
damn.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
Americans
Jaden's
are
like super.
short.
Yeah, it's weird.
We're not healthy. There's something in the water over here.
That must be it. It's the northern air
Yeah, look, now
that
the
like
camera
gives us our
quality's
life.
better.
Oh yeah, it's a little better now. It's been coming in and out. It looks not terrible. You can kind of not see the mess behind me. I have to like put away my heat press and my screen printing press, and all the clothes are on my bed because I had to empty the like IKEA bags to fill with like all the shirts to ship and stuff.
Oh my god. Well, we've been going for like over 2 hours, and it's 1:12 for you. Wait, or
12,
12:12?
12.
12:12. Lucky
12, 12.
number.
Is that a
Um,
lucky number?
mhm. Anytime you see like a double number, that's like your
Snake eyes.
what?
That's not snake eyes. That's not what snake eyes is. Just
Kind
but like
of.
snake
That's
eyes
on
on
a
dice.
dice.
Is that two threes or two sixes? I don't remember. Or is it two ones? I
I
don't
think
think it's
it's
two
two
ones.
ones.
Oh my god, let's look. You're probably right. I was like, there's no way it's just two ones.
Pretty sure it's two
Um,
ones.
you're probably right.
I have.
Oh yeah, one pip on each side. You're right. It's two ones. I don't gamble. I don't play dice.
Do you want to hear a crazy story?
Yeah.
So I have. Here, I'm gonna show you. I have this penny that appeared like out of thin air at my mom's house, and it was on the floor. This is like when I first came back to San Francisco a couple months ago, and I was like, "There's something weird about this. This was not here before," because my mom is like a total neat freak. Like there was nothing out of place ever, and we were in the room, so I would have seen the penny. So I like got my phone, turned on the flashlight, look at it, and it's 1992, which is the year I was born. So I
Oh,
just like
crazy.
knew it was from my grandpa. And I was like, it's 1992, mom. And then she like starts crying. It was like
Oh.
very
Did
intense.
your grandfather collect coins?
Uh no, but he died a couple years before. And the penny
Okay.
like appeared on the ground right in front of a dresser that had a picture of him.
Hmm.
So I keep the penny on this dice right here.
Oh, nice.
There's the penny.
Hmm.
Um, and yesterday, right before I started the show with Coco and Claire, like we were on VMix talking, the penny just flies off the dice
Wow,
out of nowhere. It
that's
was
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
I always forget that you guys still have pennies. Canada doesn't have pennies.
Do you have coins?
Yeah, so we have quarters, nickels, and dimes. Um, but it's been years now. It still seems like it was such a recent thing, but they're just like, yeah, we're getting rid of pennies.
I mean,
Oh yeah, we also have loonies and toonies, which you guys don't have. You have bills. You have $1 bills.
yeah, we definitely don't have loonies and toonies.
That's what we call our $1 and $2 coins. I'd show you, but I use them all at the laundromat.
Oh, yeah, I don't even have cash on me, let alone. This is the only coin I have. Like my
I
mom
have
doesn't have
coins like
coins either.
around my desk. Literally, the only reason I ever have cash is to pay rent or for the laundromat.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason you need to. I
And
was
I wish I
gonna.
could just pay rent like online.
Do you like my ghost pearl? Wait, oh, it's not in
Ooh, that's
focus.
cute. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Isn't it cute?
Mhm.
I was gonna wear it,
Mhm.
but I forgot. Too bad.
I have like no jewelry. I got like a Vivian Westwood necklace, but I have to replace the chain on it because it's like slightly too small for me.
Is it the one with the like symbol, the
It
logo?
has like her symbol. It has like these like bat wings.
Are
Uh,
they part of the
they're
symbol?
like above it. I can go find. I like tweeted it.
Well,
Um,
okay. Can you tell me like the hype around this? Because I swear to God, everyone has it. I don't.
yeah, Vivian Westwood's definitely been really blowing up. I mean,
Yeah.
I just really like the like bat ears on it, which is why I got it. I don't really super care for like the pendant. I mean, obviously I buy into the hype because I have one, but like I think that it's super weird. Like none of her jewelry is actually made out of like fine metals or anything. Like there's no like gold or anything.
I'm looking it
Um,
up right now. The battery. Okay, it's really cute. That's like a
did that
cuter
like
goth version.
if you look at that, does that show it? Yeah, that's exactly what I have. I literally just like it because like the wings. Yeah, um,
Super cute.
are really cute. Um, but yeah, I don't really know. I mean, it's sort of the same with anything. Like it's just happened. Like probably some celebrity wore it, and then everybody
Yeah,
else
like who
wants it.
started it? I just want to know where it began. Because Probably like two
Okay.
months ago, like everyone had them.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't
Definitely.
recognize the symbol. It's not
Yeah,
a,
no,
I
I
don't know
had
why I'm calling it a symbol. I'm not good at, one of my weaknesses is not being able to describe clothes or materials.
I'm kind of bad at it too in like a literal way. Like, yeah, I would probably just I don't know what I would call that. But I
That's
like
amazing.
I don't know. I think that it's more fun to like describe like materials of like how they feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like which I guess isn't actually that descriptive, but like thinking about
Soft,
their like
fuzzy.
food. Like soft or fuzzy or just like I don't know, like warm or like, you know, detailed or like messy and stuff like just thinking about
Yeah.
just about that kind of stuff. I don't really know. It's all weird, but no, I think that yeah, I've no I try to like have a I try to like not have a bad vocabulary, but I'm also just really bad at like describing physical stuff. Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know. I don't know what it is that like makes it so hard. I feel like I just don't know what things are called.
Totally.
Maybe I need to read more like fiction.
True. I haven't read in so long, which is a bad thing. I
I
definitely
read
should read more.
all the time, but like not normal stuff. Do you want to know what I'm reading right now?
Yes, I would love to know. Love to hear.
It's a book that teaches you how to remote view.
Interesting.
Do you
I'm
know what?
familiar with the concept, I think, yeah.
So
It's like
the
you like remove yourself from your body kind of and just like look at yourself from the outside, or is that a different concept?
that's like astral projecting, I think.
Okay.
Remote viewing was used like by the US military in the 70s and 80s, and they developed a whole program, and basically it allows you to see things that aren't in front of you. So the military would use it to like see like Russian military plans or like find missing soldiers. um
Interesting.
so it's basically like a form of being like psychic in a way, but anyone can learn it. It's not like an innate skill. You just have to be open to it. And the reason I decided to do it is because there's an app called RV Tournament, Remote Viewing Tournament, and you can win money. And basically, uh, the view will be bad, so I'm not going to show it to you. But every day you like log on, and it just gives you like a blank piece of paper that
Hmm.
you're then supposed to draw on. So what you would do is you would meditate, and you basically imagine yourself the following day finding out what the image is. So
Interesting.
you're basically like time traveling or like connecting with your future self, and then you're going to
Interesting.
draw what you're like imprinting. So
Right.
I have yet to successfully do it. It's really hard. I'm not that far in the book. It's like 800 pages.
Oh my god. It's a long read.
But I will be able to remote view by the end of it.
I believe in you. I'm curious. You'll have to keep me updated.
Oh, I will. It's going to be like 70 hours of work, of
Wow.
like practice.
I respect the commitment. I don't think I've ever put that much. I mean, I guess like process, but like into learning something, I don't think I've ever really put that much time.
I can't
I'm
say
very much a
that
person.
I have either. You're very much a
Very much a
person,
person
what?
where like if I can't like I need to be good at stuff, and if I'm not like immediately like not immediately, but if I can't like see myself progressing, like I just give up.
Mm.
Hmm.
You don't like the
Which I think I've,
challenge
well, I do. I like doing difficult things
that you're good
and
at.
like learning. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing because like obviously the screen printing took a lot of trial and error and like a lot of learning, and I'm still like this a lot of stuff didn't like work out exactly how I would have wanted it to, but like it just like felt different. Like yeah, it's hard to pinpoint for sure, and it's I think something I've gotten a bit more open to, but especially if it's for school, like it's like, oh, if I can't do it, like I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's how I felt about streaming. Like, I'm so stoked that I can do this. I feel like so tech savvy with my vMix.
nice. Yeah,
It's it's fun stuff. We'll do this again when you're
for
back
sure.
from your vacation.
Yeah, back from Nova Scotia. I can't wait to be on a plane for
Yeah,
the first
what's that
time in
gonna be like?
like a year. I have no idea what to expect, to be honest.
Damn. Just mask up.
Yeah, got the mask. It's gonna be
Wow.
weird to have to sit next to someone that close, but
Oh my
whatever.
god.
Yeah,
It'll be okay. Lots of people are doing it. I have plenty of friends that have flown at this point.
yeah. And I haven't flown anywhere in like literally a year. I mean, the last thing would have been MagFest, and that's like the first week of January. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, crazy. So, I'll see you in 2021.
yeah. It definitely is like looking back on this year, like because it feels like I've done nothing, but really I've done more this year than like any other year for sure.
You've done
Yeah.
a shitload. It's crazy. You should write it all down and you'll be like, wow. I mean, I guess you
Yeah,
kind
I
of did
should.
with your resume.
That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna do that this weekend, or like apply like when I get to Nova Scotia. Like I have nothing to do while I'm there, so I'm gonna like fix my CV and like send that in. And as far as I know, they haven't picked anyone for that job yet, so hopefully it's not too late.
Yay.
Fingers
I really
crossed.
hope you get
Yeah.
it. That would be so cool.
Thank you. Me too.
Well, I really have to pee, so I guess we should call it a night.
Where that works for me. Yeah, I mean I need to be up in 5 hours, so I should probably finish packing.
Damn. Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me your time tonight. I know you have a
No,
lot of
for
other
sure.
stuff
It's a
to
good
do,
time.
but you're an amazing guest. Oh, well, I
Thank you.
just got. Did you hear that?
I didn't, but I do hear clicking now.
Oh, oh my gosh. Okay.
It's
Well,
returned.
thank you for everything.
For sure.
And
Thank you for
I'm
having me.
sure everyone enjoyed watching. I don't know who these two silent people watching are, but thank you for sticking around. And we'll be back soon.
Cool. All right. Have a nice night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.